Welcome back, everybody, to the CCT Central Europe Malta Finals, brought to you by Gaming Malta. My name is Parla. I'm still your desk host. On the desk with me, I'm still joined by Freddie Grimmy Ranner and also Brandon the B-Dog. Up next, we have our next upper bracket semi-final. We've got Bad News Eagles versus Movistar Riders. Okay, there we go.
Yeah.
Now we can see it. Yeah.
Now we're on here.
Cheers,
on the full
guys.
screen.
Yeah, now we can see the people in person. Freddie, looking forward to this next one, buddy?
Yeah, really excited. I think BNE versus Eternal Fire will be a really interesting upper round or upper finals matchup, because obviously, as Major was saying there in the post-match interview, he was saying that, you know, we just want to find our revenge. They've been consistently bested by BNE at every single hurdle, at every single time. However, Movistar Riders right now are insane. The sun gods are out. They are shining
The sun
bright.
gods.
You know a lot about sun gods, don't you?
I know about the night shift, buddy. I don't know about no sun gods. Brandon, before we start talking more Counter-Strike, you told me you've got something to show the stream, eh?
Yeah, I don't know how this is going to work.
Let's
but, like,
try. You wanted to show something special.
I've got a Counter-Strike tattoo parlor.
Oh, you actually?
yeah.
Isn't
okay.
it safe for broadcast?
Yeah,
it
it's a
is,
safe one. How is this going to work?
You just got to lift your leg up.
Right, yeah. Okay, I don't know if you can see this.
Can we zoom in on this camera?
I don't know. There you go. There you go.
Look
there
at
it is.
Counter-Strike
There it is.
Gen.
There we go.
Wow. I wonder if we'll be seeing any chickens shot in this
We-
next best three, or
every
maybe
time.
now, hashtag save the chickens, because that would mean a lot to us and Brandon.
There you go.
Yeah, well, so going back to Counter-Strike.
Thanks, Parla.
Bad News Eagles versus Movistar Riders. Guys, can I just get some initial reactions before we introduce both teams?
Well, I'm just looking at the 1xBet odds right there. I thought it's unfair. You know, Movistar Riders, they took
Is it?
down the Goliaths
Oh,
of the
wow.
Spirit. You know what, Brandon? I'm backing the Spaniards. They came in,
Oh.
everyone started a little bit slow against ENCE. David G, for some reason, had like a 1.46 rating, but everyone else has come into their own as the tournament has progressed. You've got Martinez, who's playing really well. You've got Sasso, who's having an unbelievable tournament. And then you've got them also just destroying everyone in front of them after that original matchup. And I do not think that that should be the odds.
Brandon, do you think those odds are indicative of how you see this match going, or do you think it should be more of a fiddy-fiddy?
Look, I agree with your points, and I feel like Movistar have gone on a really good run here. They've been very impressive, obviously taking down Spirit, and they thrive in this underdog environment. I think yesterday was, what, the first best of three they won since November last year. So, but to be honest, you can kind of take that with a little bit of a pinch of salt, because they haven't had like the most amount of games, most events attended on HLTV. I feel like they're just trying to change too much too quickly. I feel like they've brought in, obviously it's a future project, right? So you've got Martinez, you've got Sasso, that have been brought in over the past couple of months. They've also recently adopted a 7-map pool ever since Dust 2 rotated out. So I feel like you're now trying to add another map. You've got to do so much more practice, not only just to incorporate your pieces, your younger players who have got limited experience in the scene, but also you're now adding an extra map on top of that. But it is working so far. I will say, like, on the other end of things, they do look pretty good. I feel like Mopos, Davi G, Alex, they need to be kind of like the foundations for Martinez and Sasso to flourish.
All right. Oh, sorry. Did you finish your point?
Yeah.
Perfect. All right. It's now time to introduce our teams, starting off with Bad News Eagles. Bad News Eagles. Guys, their tournament so far. Cheeky recap. What are your thoughts on it so far?
Very impressed with someone like Synopsy. He's so far at the top of the scoreboard for the squad. He's also doing this while being the main thrower of all the utility. I'm looking for a little bit more in one flat throw. I think he's kind of, you know, the counterpart to Xantara is on this BNE roster, and he's normally a big generator of wins and kills for the team. GXX is an AWPer as well. When you're coming up against Martinez, who's definitely playing very well, I want to be seeing a little bit more from him. But we've seen how much energy they've had. They've been coming down from deficits. Devilwalk was talking very confidently about them, and I think maybe the reason for some of their games starting a little bit slowly is because they have had a lack of officials, and a big part of that is the fact they haven't needed to go through the RMR open qualifiers, etc. They've kind of been just taking the year a little bit slowly. They started off a little bit later than a lot of the teams. However, that practice with Devilwalk, we can really see it coming into fruition.
Yeah, I feel like the organization has definitely got a lot better from the side of Bad News Eagles. Their utility usage as well, especially in the first day of the tournament, was just really good. Just flashing out positions, and kind of everything was done with purpose and intent from Bad News Eagles for the majority of their set defaults. Don't get me wrong, there's still their identity there of rushing, being a little bit more aggressive. But for me, Devilwalk's really added an extra layer, just almost of like security and protection for this side.
Daddy Devilwalk. Moving on, everybody, let's introduce our next team. The opponents of Bad News Eagles, it's the Movistar Riders. That's a good one. I'm loving the Mopoz shrug. I'm not sure what he was implying, or if it was just the videographer at the time said, oh, it will look cool if you do a shrug.
Shrug it out.
Look confused. Shrug it out, my brother. But yeah, Movistar Riders. Once again, I'll ask you guys the same question that I did about Bad News Eagles. Little recap on Movistar Riders tournament so far and how you think they've been faring.
I think the epitome of it all comes down to a HLTV interview Alex did that was published this morning or last night, where he said, look, we came into this tournament and we wanted to win just one game. They wanted to break that curse, and you know what? They've done even better. That win against
That
Spirit,
curse, by the way, to everybody at home, it was like, that's their first win on a series in
since November, so
three months,
4 months. And like, it was really building up and getting fairly worrying with some very one-sided losses to the likes of SOAR regionally, and then internationally they weren't making it out of the round of 16 when they were invited to playoffs. They dropped out of the top 30 for the first time in almost a year, and now they're starting to pick up the pieces a little bit, and you've got Sassel there wiping the dust off his shoulder like he's going to be wiping B&E out the server.
Oh, that's a big expectation placed on Sassel. And Brandon, same question to you. Movistar Riders tournament so far.
Really impressive. I mean, what more can you say about Movistar? The fact that Martinez is really performing consistently, not over just one map, but over a series, is a really good sign. Sasso had some moment of brilliance yesterday against Spirit. And for me, it really hinges a lot on them just feeling comfortable in themselves and just kind of their belief and confidence, because Alex does give Martinez especially a lot of freedom, a lot of room, and when he first joined that roster, it felt a little bit timid. It felt like he wasn't really going for these aggressive positional plays, and now he's feeling a lot more comfortable. We've seen a lot more flashier stuff from him, and as a result, we're getting a much more explosive Martinez on the server. He's molded into kind of a similar vein as Sampaius.
Now, we've done enough talking about the teams. It's time to hear from them themselves. We've got the coaches of both teams, Devilwalk and Blade, standing by on the floor with Veracity.
Thank you very much for that wonderful intro there, Parla. Once again, Blade and Devilwalk, gents, the two coaches going head to head. Blade, I'm going to start with you first. Our analysts were briefly mentioning the fact that you guys had recently dropped out of the HLTV top 30. Would you say this has kind of affected the team morale in any sense at all, or has it motivated you guys even more?
In the moment that we started to play with the new roster, we understood that we need time to work on a lot of things, especially on the new system that we have in the in-game, and a lot of things that it's about process. We just need time. We understand that that's normal. We are going to drop in the ranking, it's normal. But what is motivating us is that the most important thing is that they are enjoying the process. So here we are.
And how about going up against the likes of a B&E? I know you guys were having a little bit of a back and forth before we actually went live. You guys feeling confident to go up against the likes of Mr. Devilwalk himself?
We respect them a lot. I think they have a lot of good chemistry and really good individuals. So I think it's going to be an interesting match.
Okay, and how about you, Mr. Devil Walk? Firstly, it's lovely to have you on this side of things once again. It's been a little while since we've seen you in the coach's seat. My first question for you is, how has it been? Obviously, the team communicating in Albanian mostly, and yourself, speak much Albanian?
Not really. First time I try it, but it's going well. I think, you know, they have the callouts in English already since before, so I think it would be a lot more difficult for me to coach if they didn't say the spots in English. But I've been learning small words like when they leave peaks, when they want to fight, when they want to trade, and stuff like this in Albanian, so that I can keep track of what's going on. Obviously, it's not perfect yet, but we're getting there, and I think we're improving every week with our chemistry between me and the guys who already have great chemistry.
And were there any glaringly obvious things that kind of needed to be addressed as soon as you joined, or was it very much pretty... Okay, that tells me everything. Go on, tell us.
I think we're really good 2/3 of the game. It's that third, like, kind of closing stages we've been working on a lot, making sure that we kind of become a little bit more methodical and use maybe a little bit more probability and math to trade down and make sure we secure the rounds and handle our economy a little bit better. But it's always difficult when people get ideas and want to call, and you're a coach is standing no or yes, or you know. But yeah, handling our economy a little bit better is something we work on.
And I know we heard quite a bit of confidence coming out from you as well, stating that you guys were going to win this tournament. Still feeling pretty confident now that your coach is going head-to-head?
Yeah, I mean, Movistar is not going to be an easy game. We're not going to underestimate any opponents. You know, they've always been good, and I've always respected Blade as a coach, and he's been in the game for a long time, and you can see what he does behind the boys and the confidence that shines through. So I think it's going to be a tough game no matter what. I think they did a great job with the veto. I'm not going to spoil anything, but I think they won the veto, but we go next and we learn.
All right, well, amazing stuff. Thank you so much for joining me. Gents, go ahead and have your handshake while I throw it over back to Parla.
Thank you very much, Veracity. Nice strong handshake between the two at the end there. Let's react to some of the things that we heard. What stood out to me is that Blade is just hoping that his players enjoy the process that they're going through, the rebuilding phase. And Devil Walk, learning Albanian now.
Yeah, really interesting. I remember I was reading the HLTV article about it, and like the interview they did, and he was like, they talk in tactical pauses in Albanian. So he speaks them in English, and then they just starts talking to each other in Albanian. Like, his input as a coach must be so bizarre and different to anything that he would have ever had before. But from my perspective, if BNE are going to be adding him, and if BNE have accepted him as a coach, they definitely would have understood what they're getting themselves into. And I really agree that he said, like, every week we're getting better and better and better. And I think that's going to be a real consistent theme for BNE going future with this project. They're just going to continue getting better and more solidified with this sixth, like, roster now, I guess.
Yes. Brandon, let's bring up our CCT head-to-head. For Movistar Rise, we're going to have Martinez. For Bad News Eagles, we're going to have GXX. And talking about X's, do you think these two players need to be the X factors for their teams?
Nice.
It's smooth, right?
Yeah, it was.
Pretty smooth.
Good transition. I'm glad I pointed it out to make the whole thing a lot more streamlined. GXX, Martinez, look, they're both quite aggressive AWPers. Martinez, quite a flashy one. And the thing I've been noticing a lot, especially from Movistar Riders, is that he's been really growing in his confidence. Really, because he's been hitting these shots, because he's been feeling a lot more comfortable within the server, it then almost gives him that extra kind of initiative to take even more aggressive fights. And for GXX is kind of the same vein, right? They're two very similar AWPers, and for me, I mean, look at the head-to-head, incredibly similar stats. And
very, very tight.
Yeah.
Very close.
So I'm not really... Obviously, this will make a big difference in the head-to-head. Martinez, especially against Spirit, he was coming out on top against Wonderful in a lot of the engagements, and he was really a big pivotal piece to why they won the best of three.
One of the other things that was mentioned in the interview was Devil Walk saying that he thinks BNE... Sorry, yeah, not BNE. He thinks Movistar, his opponents, have won the veto. So I'm very excited to see where our veto could end up. What could that mean, Freddie?
Well, a big part of it is touching upon the 7th map, the map pool you're saying.
Yeah.
If you look at their last 3 best of 3s, they've actually insta-banned a different map every single time. Anubis, Overpass, and Vertigo have all come out as an insta-ban each time, so they have the ability to play with this veto however way they want. And it's kind of what you were saying, of maybe they're changing a little bit too much too quickly, but I think they've had that time to change it, and now they're in a position where it's very unique, and a lot of teams haven't adapted for this like 7 map pool because it's very difficult to maintain, but if you do it right, you can play on the weaknesses of your opponents more than kind of like playing to your individual strengths.
Brandon, it should be coming up on screen very shortly, and let's see exactly what Devil
That's
Walk
the
meant.
fourth. That's the fourth
Yeah.
map that they've changed differently.
Yeah, I mean, that one's actually a really good decision for Movistar Riders. It wouldn't surprise me if they picked Anubis here as well, but in fact, they actually go for Overpass. Again, that's a very solid map for them. Ancient coming out for BNE, I like this pick. They picked it against Eternal Fire as well, if I'm
Yeah,
not
I think
mistaken.
it's their insta pick.
Remember, it's not Overpass anymore. It is
Oh, sorry,
Movipass.
Movipass.
Okay, and Anubis banned out, which means we get Inferno as the decider. Ooh.
Pretty juicy
Yeah.
veto. Do you think it is... Well, I mean, it's hard to say exactly how much Devil Walk thinks that Movistar Riders won this veto, but do you think it's a massively favourable veto for Movistars, or is Devil Walk overplaying it slightly?
The insta-ban by Nuke BNE straight away is already going to come as a trouble for Movistar, because it's what we've seen them be very good on it so far as tournaments. They definitely would have wanted to have that potentially even as a first pick or as a floater, so I think that's good for BNE. But overall, he's definitely onto something, and I think that overpass from Movi is signaling something, even though because BNE are good at overpass. Like, they're a team that are pretty decent at overpass. So I'm very intrigued. Does he see Movi as like a better overpass team than BNE?
I think it's more the fact that they probably expect a Mirage to come into this veto, because it's an incredibly strong map for BNE, and we would have had like a really exciting kind of battleground, right? Mirage will be a lot of forward fighting, a lot of initiative being taken by both teams, which they quite like to do. Now you've got Overpass, and what we saw from Movistar is they're very keen to take space very quickly, but also they're really comfortable and reliant on their crossfires. You never know what you're going to get out of them initially. And for Bad News Eagles, sometimes their T-sides feel a little bit one-dimensional. They try and force the issue quite a lot more than typically other teams would. So that's where you need to get Devil Walk in the ears. I really like the fact, just reflecting back to the coaching point before we jump back on the veto, is that as soon as they lose a round, he immediately calls a pause. And the timing of these pauses really helped reset BNE, get back into the game and win that best of 3 out.
Guys, excuse me one moment whilst I clear my throat. Yes, so the match isn't quite ready to go yet, so we have some chance for more talking points. I want to bring up with regards to Movistar Rise. So yesterday, you know, they knocked Spirit out of the competition, and they did it in a pretty strong fashion against a very 3 competitive maps. I don't think anyone would have expected at the start of the tournament that Movistar were capable of beating who were arguably the tournament favourites.
I'd go on the theme of they didn't even expect that, and that
They
was
came here to win 1 match.
and
Apparently, according to Alex, right?
and then they knock out the top 13 team in the world who proclaims and puts on a pedestal wonderful the 18-year-old Orpa who's rated in the top 10 of HLTV this year. Like, naturally you're not thinking that, and it's the fact that Martinez was able to out-AWP him is seriously impressive, and I think they got to be happy with what they've already achieved today. Also not today, like in this tournament, but they're definitely now in a position where they're like, we can go far, we can actually do this.
I think that victory yesterday over Spirit has to be a huge boost of confidence.
Yes, yeah.
But the question is, and I'm sure sports psychology would play into this, like, I'm not an expert on it at all though, but you'd hope that they can, get a huge boost of confidence from that, but then carry that into today, and it doesn't sort of disappear and then they start overthinking things.
I feel like they'll have to go in with the same mentality as they did against Spirit, and that's playing without pressure. And yes, it would have given them a lot of confidence, and when you start winning best of 3s, that's going to give you a lot more belief in the system. And just reflecting back on what the coach said, right? He said, look, let's just enjoy the process along the way. Now they've made the playoffs, it's definitely more than what they expected. Now they can just play for, well, not specifically for fun, but they can play without kind of any expectations, any pressures, and just see how far they can develop.
Yep, guys, still waiting on an ETA of when this match can start. I'm thinking we've covered a lot of the things that we've needed to cover. Do you guys have anything else that you want to discuss about the game? If not, we can start freestyling, podcasting. We've got Alan Hender in the building too. Maybe we can get him next to Tom. We can get a picture-in-picture. I don't know. But if there's nothing else that you want to discuss about it, is there anything else right now that you'd like to discuss about the matchup?
Yeah, very interesting to look at Overpass for the MOUZ Eagles. They're really active in their mid control and their short control, and they throw the smoke at middle on the CT side when you go to peek with the AWP. They throw that every single round regardless, and they don't always use it. And then sometimes when they do peek mid, they don't even throw the smoke, and they're very they tend to do the same stuff every single round with their conditioning of smokes, and then they pop around it. So it's very hard to read into when they're doing a very fast play. And I also really like that their confidence a lot of times. They sometimes just swing monster. Like, no smoke, start the round, just swing monster, and they're very hard to predict, especially on that CT side. But then it leads into the point that Brandon was making of they need to start being a little bit more crisper on that T side, and I think that's where Devil Walk is consistently helping them.
Brandon, is there anything else that you'd like to add? If not, I do have one more point I can bring up.
Yeah, go for it.
So, again, I don't like reading into statements too much or trying to put words in people's mouths, but I love to, like, hypothesize about things. And with Devil Walk saying that he thinks that Movistar have perhaps got the better of this veto, and with him being a new coach for them, that could potentially be a tough situation, because maybe he's being very honest in the fact that the maps that they've ended up on, the new systems that he's putting in place maybe aren't fully ready yet in B&E, and it could be tough.
Yeah, you start to wonder how many maps have they fully fleshed out and refined.
Because you assume that they're in that process of where Devil Walk's adding new things, maybe getting rid of old stuff. Do you get what I'm trying to imply?
Yeah, I get what you're saying, and you can't work from the ground up on every single map in succession or in a quick space of time. It is going to take an incredibly long kind of development process, so you can't bounce from map to map. So maybe we get to see typically the old style per se of MOUZ Eagles on one of these maps, and then when a tactical timeout is called, how much of an influence can Devil Walk really have? Because he's going to be like, well, guys, we haven't really
we're not prepared for this. We don't have the we don't have the
anti-stress.
Yeah, we don't have the things ready that we need. Anyway, guys, let's bounce back to the studio, and then we can just further our chat and get some special guests involved, because we're still waiting on this match to go live. And look who it is. There are our special guests. So, of course, we know that B-Dog is here casting with Sneaky, and Alan will be on the show later. But Alan has been kind enough to come down early. He's been getting us our coffees. He's been giving us some massages.
Wait,
and
where's my coffee?
We figured,
where's my massage?
We figured we'd let Alan sit on the casting desk for a bit. How's it feeling over there, Mr. Hender?
Oh, it's so nice of you, Parla, to message me earlier saying there's a big tech pause coming. So come over, help us fill. Jump
Definitely
on the,
didn't do that. Definitely didn't do that, Alan.
Parla,
it's just
you
great.
Sure? That wasn't you.
No, it was not me, mate. It's great to have you here, Alan, and you're looking relaxed and ready, mate. How was yesterday for you?
Bit of a slog, but that seems to be the deal around these parts. But it was a lot of fun, that last series. Never seemed to end, and Movistar gave us. I mean, they had on the last two maps of the series, they were in prime position to close it out super easily, and it went a little bit off the cliff. So hopefully today, if they get in a winning position, there's no mucking about, and they can get it done.
And so, Alan, sitting in the casting chair. You've done casting before, though, right, Alan?
Yes, I have, Parla.
Yeah, you are. You're an experienced caster. So I was going to ask you, like, what's it like being in the casting seat? But no, you are a caster too. So, redundant question there. Alan, what did you get up to last night when you finished the broadcast? Because you said something about needing to meet someone, then you left the hotel, and I didn't see you until just now. So, what did you get up to last night?
Parla, this is dangerous territory. But
all right, let's leave it. Let's leave it. Let's
Alan,
not ask what Alan gets up to on his international escapades.
Alan, did you leave the shirt as well last night?
Yeah, Alan, what's going on with the t-shirt, man?
Come on, Alan, step up.
We've all
Step up.
Which shirt?
Just wear it. A shirt.
Look around. Read the room.
Look at the room.
It's in the green room.
Okay.
The classic.
Anyway, I think we're getting closer to starting the match. So, yes, we are actually. So, Alan, get out of there, buddy. Make some room, because B-Dog's going to have to head over there shortly. Guys, can I push you for official predictions, please?
Oh, I haven't been very good recently.
It doesn't matter. It's just for the entertainment factor.
Yeah, it's not bad.
I'm saying, you know, I'm going to go with Devilwalk saying that Movistar won the vetoes, and I'm going to go for a 2-1 in favor of Movi. I think they're going to win their map pick. The map picks are going to go the way of the teams, but I think ultimately Movistar will come out on top. And I really just still, those odds, they're not that, they can't be that one-sided.
Brandon, who's taking it?
We've got to go the opposite way for the desk, right? I'll go 2-0 BNE.
I'm going 2-0 Movistar Riders.
Nice.
I'm sold. I'm down the creek without a paddle. I'm flying the Spanish flag. All right, everybody, thank you so much for joining us. Up next, it's our second upper bracket semi-final. It's Movistar Riders versus the Bad News Eagles. Brandon, you can head off to the casting booth. I need to throw it to you, mate. I just realised mid-throw. Get out of here. Get out of here. All right, Brandon and Sneaky, over to you.
I really wish we just had the thing of him running.
Yeah. I mean, welcome back, Brandon. It's lovely to have you back at the desk. That was...
Oh, my God.
That was a beautiful sprint. He's out of breath. It's a whole 10 meters between the two of us. But regardless, I'm looking forward to this Movistar matchup. I am jumping on the 2-1 train for the Movistar Riders, and I do genuinely believe they have won out this veto. That Mirage ban
hang on.
was...
All right, yeah, sorry, come on.
Yeah, the Mirage ban was fantastic.
Yeah.
As Freddie alluded to, they've been they've been banning so many maps in this tournament that they have been such an unpredictable entity. And not only that, they took down Spirit. They've taken down some other big names too. It's a surprise to see them here, but a welcome one.
Yeah, for sure. Look, I feel like kind of as we were saying over there, that's gonna be a weird habit. For Movistar, look, just play for confidence, play without expectation, and honestly, see what you can achieve.
Yeah, also, I'm so excited to see these two teams compete on Overpass because Bad News Eagles, amazing CT side, terrible T side. Movistar, they at least showed some glimmers of light on their T side up against Spirit before they threw what was a 13-7 lead away. They did at least pick up another round as FaZe picks up the opening kill, chased on down viciously by DaviG though. We have ourselves even stature, and also a fairly open B bomb site, at least for the plant for Movi. Though they do need to worry about this Synopsy boost. Salsol pushing down onto Scenarii, applying the pressure, and applying another frag to Vitali. Bomb has gone down. GXX will trade, but Martinez, I'm pretty sure that was a burst fire frag, catches up with a second with Alex, and that leaves us in a 2v1, and Alex, what a gorgeous shot. The roar's already coming out in the Bad News Eagles camp.
Yeah, really good stuff
I
from
think they were
Movi.
calling in Spanish there as well.
Yeah, I mean, look at this. You've got just the complete swarm on towards the bomb site. The USP is ready. Bang! Incredible shot from Alex right at the end there, leading from the front as so often as he does. And what's really refreshing to see, take a look at the HLTV ratings. He's not at the top by too much anymore. He's actually being supported by the entirety of his team. And that was a really nice split. The boost was inventive for BNE, just didn't quite work out. I like the fact that Devilwalk is immediately just going over, making sure that it's okay, it's fine, it doesn't matter. These things do happen.
Movistar Riders are the upset that keeps on happening, though. Can they take this even further? As they said, they came here to win a single map, and they've made it to what was a ridiculously difficult PlayOffs bracket. Not too tough of a first kill for DaviG. He sneaks straight on past GXX. He gets a cheeky headshot on in, but is this the start of another miracle Movistar Riders run? It was a similar caliber tournament that put them up into that standing in the first place. Outsiders were about 13th, 14th in the world at the time they won Valencia, and then they went on to win even bigger things. Salsol wins a nice engagement in towards Connector, actually taking down the rifle player of B and E. And I'll ask you that question again in a second, Brandon, as DaviG gets one flat stroke questioning his own positioning.
What was the question? Sorry.
It's all right. Do you think this is the start of another Movistar Riders glimmer of brilliance in terms of tournament caliber?
I feel like they've already achieved quite a lot, and the fact they're in the playoffs, it's a double elimination bracket, so even if they lose this best of 3, it doesn't matter too much because they've got another life, right? So for me, it's just gaining even more experience, especially in a LAN environment. It's so important. Mopos doing incredibly work, literally mopping up the rest of BNE. Synopsy, last player standard, will fall. That's a gun that can also be upgraded for Movistar Riders. Really nice stuff. Consecutive rounds on the board. They survived the force buy. They now get the reward of the eco.
Yeah, it's just solid stuff through and through. daviG mopping everybody up with that Mac-10, farming cash and farming confidence, hopefully, too. You can see there's been smiles on the faces of these guys since before the game even started. As Devilwalk said, they had a bit of a comedic exchange before the interview. And also, it's good to see that the players on both sides evidently have a lot of respect for each other. Blade is not as prominent as Devilwalk, but he's also been around in the scene for a very long time, as Martinez is not around for very long in this round, as Synopsy immediately decapitates him.
Yeah, Alex got to be a little bit careful here, because that Deagle can fire off another shot and get really close on his positioning, but doesn't quite take full advantage of it. Synopsy now needs to fall on back. daviG, as well as Alex, can swing on in. It is a little bit laboured, but ultimately the trade is through. But hang on a second. Juan Flatro sneaking through the back lines, up already in towards top con, flanking Movistar riders. This might be an oversight.
Yeah, Juan Flatro has the perfect timing. That's the bomb carrier spotted. They're not looking his way, but as soon as I say that, Alex's awareness ensures that nothing is done by the dastardly Deagle. 4 versus 3. 2 upgraded pistols, 1 USP. This should continue to be a fairly quick cleanup by the Movistar side.
Yeah, they take the space out towards the fountain. They get the control. Now they reset in towards Monster. Issue you've got really is that Rigon and Scenari are here, but listen, it's just Eagles. It should be fine. It should be the cleanup. Especially as Sasso has spotted one lurking in towards the water. Scenari now swinging from the pillar. Does actually deal with daviG, but meanwhile his teammates are all falling around him. It's all Sasso in the feed. And the Mac-10 does deal the killing blow. 3-0. A great start for Movistar.
Yeah, that's the confidence they need to be bringing into the server. And again, both of these teams struggle a little bit more on the T side, so those 3 rounds will be invaluable in the latter stages of this game. They really could be a difference maker, despite them being a tad gimmicky at times. But we mentioned a bit of a laboured spray at the start of this round for daviG. I think one of my favourite moments from the map yesterday is when I think it was daviG had the most ridiculously impeccable trigger discipline on the back of the bomb site on... Oh, hello. The back of the bomb site on Mirage. He was sitting in Ninja, lets 3 players walk past him, and then misses every single bullet onto the Spirit player who was on about 20 HP. Am I ringing any bells here, Brandon?
You don't need to out him like that. I do remember that. I was watching in the green room. It was a travesty.
At least he got the bomb defusal. The full 10-second stick, despite being the only player without a kit.
Yeah, I mean that was just for confidence. That was just for morale, I think. All right, we enter a little bit of a techie to kick things off. Always nice. But that's nice because we get a little bit of airtime and we get to talk a little bit more just amongst ourselves. Very impressive start for Movistar, and as you're saying, it looks like the little bit of the jitters going up against that Spirit game, they seem to have shaken it off. They haven't really brought that through as residual into the first 3 rounds.
But just quickly, looking back at them banning Mirage, they looked pretty damn confident on it yesterday. The fact that they know their opponents well enough that they want to get their best map out of the pool is a testament again to how dangerous Movistar could potentially be with a little bit more practice, especially if they continue to make a deep run in this tournament, because they do have a very expansive map pool.
Yeah, and that's the beauty of having 7 maps, right, is that you can inherently always ban your opponent's best map, and it's like, well, okay, we're equally good on the other 6.
And Overpass is certainly one of those that Movistar almost proved themselves on yesterday as a formidable force. Great CT side, a nice start to the offensive, but it was an offensive finish for them. Spirit clinching that, but unfortunately not the series for that Russian side. Still quite unbelievable. As much as I did predict the Movistar 2-0, I was a little hesitant. As Brandon, you called me a madman.
Yeah, I did. I did against Spirit. I felt like they'd get at least one map. I thought Spirit were going to win that series, I'll be honest. I think I said it on the desk yesterday. This is the first full gun round, though, focusing back in on this one. And it's the potential of our first AWP head-to-head between GXX and Martinez, as highlighted in the pre-game. daviG just making his way through towards the toilet, gathering as much control without using too much utility until the flashbang comes in. Synopsy is full blind, but somehow still wins out the engagement anyway.
I mean, we talk about daviG laboured sprays, and despite having a full blind opposition in front of him, he messes up and really doesn't do that much damage considering the time he had. Alex, though, thankfully finishes the deal onto Synopsy.
And Salsol, that's a clean kill onto the AWP of GXX. Now, continuing, Util reigns on in. Juan Flatro, will his position be cleared? Will it even be spotted here by Salsol? No, it won't be. Trigger discipline temporarily played. Juan Flatro normally a godlike spray. That one very, very messy as both of these teams try and shake off the disciplinary, tries to shake off the offensive, but it won't be enough. Alex finds the frag. 6-0 right now as the IGL continues to flex his prominence. Rigon, though, in a 1v2, and oh, he's got Alex facing away from him. Martinez, now the youngster, thrown into the 1 versus 1, and by God, he's fast. That's another great round on the board for Movistar, although it does get rather messier than it needed to be.
Yeah, messy is how you just described that round in general, right? I mean, there's Davi messing up on long. Alex has to pick up the pieces there on towards Synopsy. You got the trigger discipline from Juan Flatro that it gets a little bit dicey. And then Alex has got no control in towards CT, but has the read that there's a player rotating from connector in Rigon. That isn't actually the case. One player, that's the difference maker between our first full gun round here on the server.
Yeah, Devil Walk looking to be the difference maker here behind the morale of his team. Trying to spice up the atmosphere a little bit, giving them their words of encouragement. Looks quite interesting again, hearing that they take in his words in English and then immediately cut him out of the conversation in these tactical timeouts.
Yeah, that's got to be like a weird thing, because it's like, okay, here's all my points, ready, good, and then they start speaking in Albanian. And it's like, did you get that, guys? Like, are we doing what I said? Like, am I being heard? Like, it's Devil Walk, though. Like,
force point to Deagles and like win the round anyway. And Devil was like, yeah, you know what, screw it.
That was the plan all along. 4-0. Connector control looking to be established once again by Movistar. Boost. Come on, guys, we can do this. There we go.
Rigon looks to get his jig on with a frag in towards connector early doors. Salsol doesn't quite waltz into the crosshairs. Mopos, has he looked up and seen the barrel? No, he hasn't. Not quite enough of Salsol showing for Rigon to take the immediate spray, but it does eventually come to fruition as Mopos. They don't anticipate him there. Synopsy, how's he in connector? He snuck on past them all. That's a free AK. A man advantage for the Bad News Eagles here.
There was another one as well. GXX was also waiting in connector. He's now repositioned in towards short to scoop up an SMG potentially. You've now got Rigon. This is such a dynamic defense from Bad News Eagles. Take a look over at long, because he's now pushing that issue. You've got all the short control, you've got connected. You know what, Bad News Eagles? They want a little bit more.
Yeah, they're looking for the round at this stage. Excuse me, they've put themselves in a perfect position for it. Bomb edges its way down long, though. Martinez on this AWP. He is very, very fast. Will he account for Rigon's position, though? He's tucked in just narrowly enough on the angle that he won't be spotted. Alex doesn't get the opportunity to spot him out. Instead, his head is cleanly taken off. Martinez misses the opportunity to close onto Rigon. Does good damage, but might not quite be enough. Davi, the timing eludes him. Bank is threatening as Rigon catches Martinez. It's a 1v4 for a low HP Davi, and this would be a mad round for B&E to win. Davi won't go down without a good fight, but unfortunately for him, the time's run out, and he could still go down after the clock, but Synopsy spray will not quite connect. Big round for B&E, though, on very, very little.
Yeah, and that's why they can afford to take a little bit of liberties by taking as much map control as they desire. It all starts off with this boost, and then, despite Mopos finding the SMG kill, Synopsy, GXX push connector, Rigon goes on a little bit of an adventure on his own in towards the toilets, and from there, the round just completely spirals out of control. It's a nice adjustment for Davi towards the tail end of things, and thank goodness for Movistar Riders that he's able to save the AK and doesn't die after time.
Yeah, it's a needed influx to what would be a limited buy otherwise. Now a tactical timeout immediately called from Movistar, echoing the sentiments of Devil Walk. Blades getting his words in. As the IGL in Alex also has a lot to say. That should never have been a round loss for the likes of Movistar. Again, these early T rounds are so crucial, and when you let a one as valuable as that and as easy to take as that under normal circumstances slip away, it does start to play on the mentality of your players a little bit. They need to keep things in shape, and they need to start firing back on all cylinders with a strong return in round number 6.
A little bit more patient now from both BNE and Movistar. Synopsy retreating back in towards the toilets, being supported by GXX out at long. I'm interested to see this water control really start to have this push and pull effect for both of these teams, because we've seen both of them encounter one another in and towards the shallows, and for BNE, more often than not, they've actually been coming out on top in the 1 versus 1s. For Movistar, again, a lot of it also hinges on their trade space, and especially on this T side. 4 rounds is a really good start, especially because Overpass is the most CT-sided map in the pool. daviG looking to reset with Alex. Just as this smoke fades in towards the toilet, Synopsy comes toe-to-toe with a number of these Movistar riders, but in actual fact, they redirect. They want to go out long instead.
Synopsy doesn't have to fight for a moment longer. daviG, though, might be waltzing straight into his open arms. No, instead, evades the gaze, and GXX will strike instead. Mopos lucky to be alive on that one. The Synopsy ensures that daviG falls. Mopos to trade, but still the man disadvantage. And Brandon, again, I don't think they've left themselves enough time. Salsol, where the hell does that shot come from? Blinded through a wall. Now down to the 3v3, but again, the time is ticking and the flanks coming in on the back of Rigon. Bomb still on the back of someone in his sightlines as Salsol only cuts down a single before Soneri sprays down a double. And by God, look at how animated the BNE side are.
Love that. Getting themselves back into the game, and again, it's another crucial round. Movistar riders feel so uncomfortable with the amount of space that BNE are taking, and as a result, whilst the trade spacing is pretty good, and Salsol hits a ridiculous shot onto GXX. I mean, that is audacious to say the least. They just run out of time. Again, it's 20 seconds. You walk into a bomb site, you don't have good information and recon on the likes of connector and short control. Rigon can always flank.
I'll be honest, Brandon, I didn't think that was even a wallbang spot.
Well, we know now. Double AWP also being picked up by BNE.
I mean, not that they need it in this round. Wow, that was quick. Was that an ace?
Maybe.
Well, Synopsy, he was just farming up frags there. Easy as you like, and if I'm not mistaken, that's also an equalised scoreline. Well, either way. Movistar Riders. No, not quite an equalised scoreline, my mistake. But Movistar Riders at least have that one buffer round to try and deal another killing blow before things spiral a little out of control. They don't have the best utility set behind them, but Synopsy, speaking of utility, pushes ahead of that smoke grenade. Sits patiently by the fountain. It's a risky position to play from, but daviG and Alex, they'd never expect it. Massive play from Synopsy. Already on a 2 KD in the early stages of this map, and GXX has come in to provide further support. Synopsy might even get away with it, but Mopos does deny. Still the man advantage. Oh, but not for long. Extended to 2 yet again as Salsol gets whacked to pieces.
This is ridiculous. They're hunting in packs, and now off the back of that contact, GXX says, I can't see anything, guys. So Soneri pushes a Monster Smoke. He's now in the back line of Monster. Martinez feels really isolated. And Mopos, oh, he's holding for this. This tendency of BNE to get so aggressive, but it's a little bit of a stalemate. Martinez is now going to join Mopos, and they're going to group towards B, but they need to get past Soneri.
Oh no, look at this. Who's going to make the first move?
I think they're saving.
Mopos, with this kill, might not need to save, though. Back into the 2v2 with 30 seconds. Rigon will be first to receive this threat. Smoke goes down towards heaven. Do they anticipate an AWP already on the site? What are you doing, Mopos? Not even looking where he's going. Doesn't anticipate anyone to be there. Martinez, oh, he's just had his elbow seen. Rigon now dances around the pillar with him. Plays the time. Does miss the shot. But this is all allowing the rotation come in. Not that it needs to, as Rigon proving that he is a quick-scope menace, not only on Ancient yesterday, but today against the likes of Martinez.
There's so much aggression. There is just a ridiculous amount of disruption that BNE are throwing into Movistar riders.
Wow.
And they really need to come up with a solution fast. It's now been dropped down, by the way. GXX has reclaimed his throne on the AWP. Only 1 now for BNE. Tech 9s for Movistar. And now this is the first time that BNE can start to have a lead in this game potentially and start to try and snowball it, because as of right now, they've looked unstoppable.
Yeah, they've got a little bit of comfortability here. Movistar off to such a clean start, but it all falls apart to 4 pistols and an A1S. The spacing was pretty rough. They allowed so much territory for BNE, and you talked about proactive CT sides for this squad. It's something they've been doing pretty well, and they look to replicate previous form as they are just filling in all the gaps of Movistar's defense, or excuse me, all the gaps of Movistar's offense. And sometimes the best defense is offense.
However, knowing the economic climate of Movistar riders, I really like the fact that BNE have really taken a step back. They're letting Movistar riders come into their crossfires, come into their bomb sites, try and infiltrate it. BNE try and beckon this T side in. They don't want to give over a rifle for free. So that's why if you try and attempt this B bomb site, there's 3 players ready and waiting.
Yeah, Scenarii will likely be the first point of call as Rigon walks up to chime in with him. Molotov towards Monster, but that's not the point of contact. Instead, it's out of the short side and into the fire. As Davy G only finds a single kill with 19 seconds remaining, both of these players need to go down. They both will in tandem as Bad News Eagles snatch the lead.
I'm really loving just looking at Devil Walk just screaming every time BNE win a round. And then when they lose one, he's like, it's okay, it's fine. It's a real mental game, and I guess that's kind of why they brought him in as well, because BNE, they had this period a couple of months ago where they would really struggle to close out some games, and the mental would really get into their head. To be honest, their team trajectory, not so much like the roster shuffles and things, but the way that they set themselves up, the structure, it really bears a lot of resemblance to Eternal Fire, which is why I think it's really cool this rivalry has started to develop.
Yeah, maybe, just maybe with their current form, Eternal Fire might have enough in the tank to take one over Bad News Eagles. They'll be playing the winner of this match as our final series of the day. A marathon, according to HLTV. As Eternal Fire have to play up to 4 series today in tandem with the major RMR closed qualifiers. Alex, though, doesn't give a damn about the major at the moment. He's focusing on the present, and Martinez delivers a present to Synopsy in the form of a 50 cal round. Mopos another onto Juan Flatro, and this round has just completely collapsed on its head, Brandon.
Yeah, this has been really systematic from Movistar. BNE, this time instead just goes searching for information. You can see on the mini-map in the top left, Synopsy pushed aggressively out towards long, gets caught off guard. Second player, Regon, will then fall over towards Monster, and Movistar, they've allowed BNE to try and make these mistakes by being overly aggressive. It's what they expect, it's what they anticipate, and it works out perfectly. And as a result, as a reward, it's a free open A bomb site. All GXX and Scenarii can really do is just try and save, bring this forward, but they might not even be allowed to because Mopos, he's right by Monster. Oh, but it's okay. Scenarii does deal with him.
Yeah, good awareness there from Scenarii as he walks out of Monster Tunnel. And Movistars do equal us up, or even up the scoreline at 5-5. Now, Bad News Eagles are no longer going to be afforded the opportunity of something ridiculous like 13 rounds on the CT side. They might not even be afforded the opportunity to save a weapon here. Salsalt chimes on him, chucks a flashbang. Scenarii, cowering below the staircase, will get his head ripped cleanly off. And that's huge from Movistar. And big damage to the economy of their opposition, also denying an AWP save.
Yeah, that's huge. That's a really nice round for Movistar Riders to win. Let's take a look at how the action unfolded. It's a double swing initially out towards Monster. And then immediately after that, the contact, it's felt. And it's heard and received by Movistar. Sassel denying these rifles at the very end is huge. It's put a lot of ramifications on towards BNE. They can buy, but you know, the likes of Synopsy, Juan Flatro, they don't buy as much utility as potentially they would have wanted.
And also, if the AWP goes down in this round, I doubt they'll be able to afford another reinvestment unless they can save it over. Salsol looks to ensure that's not a possibility. Smokes off the blown up door of Connector. Is he going to push and fight for control? It does not appear so, but Daffy G, he has found an egregious timing. Brandon, he could find Enough impact to spin this whole round upside down for the likes of BNE. He's going to find so much information soon, surely, but instead of going behind the bathroom players, he's
like
sneaking further into the backlines. The one problem here is there's nobody actually on B for him to find. They're all very split up. Cineri does waltz backwards into his line of sight. And this should be a fairly quick and simple round for the boys on Movistar.
This is so nice. If Davi just waits, oh yeah, I like this. So they're going to get closer towards Monster, and as they start to explode, he's going to go ready. 3, 2, 1, in we go. Perfect. Now there's no time for BNE to react immediately. They completely shut out the bomb site, and now they're thrown straight away into this retake.
What an amazing round there for Davi and Movistar. Martinez as well, in towards Monster. Deals with Rigon and looks for more. Synopsy lucky to be alive there. As that is possibly the cleanest round we've seen on the T side for Movistar Riders across these last 2 days.
And that really presents a fatal flaw into the defense of BNE and the nature of aggressing so heavily. Naturally, you're going to present gaps in towards your defense, and that round, well, that was absolutely perfect from Davi G.
Yeah, he opts to go for the sneaky heaven wrap rather than waltzing through the bathrooms. Anticipates that there's likely more presence towards bathrooms and someone posted up in heaven, and with that the bomb will go off. Movistar Riders retain their lead, and Bad News Eagles slowly but surely running the risk of not being able to close out a CT half on Overpass, which is really the only thing they have going for them on this map. And likely their confidence draining as the Spaniards start to get loud in reply.
Yeah, that's a really good point you've just highlighted. It's the fact that every CT round for BNE, despite it being on Overpass, is a premium for them. Is a luxury that they can't afford to keep giving away, because the T sides have looked very limp and lackluster. So as a result, the fact that Movistar Riders have already got, what now, 6 rounds on Overpass T side, that looks very good. They've set down a solid foundation for them to be able to build upon. For BNE, they need every single round remaining on this first half.
I think BNE have been averaging about 2 T rounds this tournament on Overpass. So the fact that they've already been denied this many by the Spaniards, it's rough. Again, normally you'd say this will still be a competitive match, but this is what Devilwalk meant when he said Movistar Riders had won the veto, picking into Overpass first, banning their best map of Mirage. I honestly don't know if BNE are going to be able to pull this one off anymore. I think your 2-0 prediction for Bad News Eagles was a little bit unwarranted.
Well, we're still 12 rounds in to a 30-round game.
This is true. I am jumping the gun a bit, but at the same time, I'm so mentally scarred by these Bad News Eagles T-sides.
Let's see what they've been working on. They did have a day off. David G trying to be part of the water feature. Now looks to take space in towards long. The readjustment for BNE is the fact that Synopsy now resides in towards the long toilet. Presence shown, but not really felt by Bad News Eagles. That's why they're just remaining in their setups. Movistar Riders reset back towards B once more. And Rigon has just re-smoked Monster. Okay, you're not going to push it. That's good, but that grenade does a healthy amount off his total.
Yeah, makes him play a little more passively as well, and the spam is perfect. Mopos, oh, he eats a lot of util damage himself there, and that allows Cineri to soften the blow. In fact, Cineri finds 2, which is massive. Alex needs this kill, but Salso finds it. A nice whip towards the bomb site there, but even better from Synopsy, thinning the numbers further up this offensive side, and GXX on the York spurns things further into the favour of the CT side, and by God, Devilwalk, he's happy with that one. And Brandon, I really hope Valve reverses the rule that you can't have coaches having any expression at the majors, because I want to see Devilwalk like that on a major stage.
Yeah, for sure. And look, this is a really well put together round by BNE. The fact that everyone is moving in unison. As soon as contact is taken by one player, you get another defender peeking upon it, whether it's a rifle, whether it's the AWP. Sassel does really well to kind of unpick the defense initially from short, but it's Synopsy towards the connector that really deals with him and makes it a shoo-in for the BNE side.
Will they get a shoe through Monster Tunnel without Rigon shutting them down, though? Molotov falls a little bit too short. It is wasted, but Cineri doesn't waste an opportunity for another opener. Rigon finds 2, so again the advantage is attained. Salso very clean with his trades on the B-bomb site. Unfortunately, can't win the round alone. This one, Flatro cuts down another. Still, Salso finding these kills. He's found 3. He's going to need to ace clutch it. Effectively a 1v5 as his teammates don't really do anything but bait for him. Unfortunately, GXX with just a USP is enough to end his tirade. And now a bit of a string of rounds together for a very momentum-based team. Hopefully, will net them enough to have a competitive second half.
Yeah, for sure. And I'll tell you what, again, it's another stellar defense. Utility is used in unison for BNE to swing upon Monster. Something that Movistar Riders have been trying to exploit. A selection of rounds in this first half. And for Sasso, he's a real beacon of light here for Movistar Riders. It's good to see him really arrive on the server, because we talk about Martinez a lot, but he's the most recent addition. And the fact that he's top of the scoreboard, feeling confident, has got double the kills on most of his teammates. Whilst that doesn't feel great initially, it certainly looks good as just kind of an eye test for him in this Movistar Riders squad.
Yeah, Salso didn't have the best of starts with the Movistar Riders lineup in the online CCT sphere, but put him on LAN and he delivers like this. I hope that's a performance he can keep up consistently. I believe he was one of the top players of yesterday. See the MVP for that matchup? Regardless, Mopos and Davi-G, the most valuable players at the start of this round, mowing down Rigon and Juan Flatro as they decide to leave B rest for a moment and take a lot of presence towards middle very successfully.
Snop's now peeking in, lingering in towards the toilets, like a potential bad smell for Movistar, but it is being watched by Alex. Snopsy's not ready for that one at all. Again, BNE, they lose the man and then they start making mistakes. It's one domino toppling and then the rest of BNE looks like will potentially fall. Scenario's been very good at getting multi-kills, especially from this position, but not today. Davi-G with the kill, and GXX now, he's going to retreat, he's going to save. Movistar Riders 7 rounds on this T-side of Overpass.
I think this is the most T-side rounds we've seen on Overpass in the tournament as well. So Movistar clearly doing their homework. Time is ticking away on that bomb, but GXX, he's being hunted, misses an opportunity. Onto the playground player, I believe that'll be Martinez, but Alex, he does not miss. Seizes the day, seizes the AWP. And that is some choice words there from Davi-G, Brendan.
Yeah, it is, but we love it. Good competitive vibes here, and look at how this started. 2 quick kills in towards Connector. That's the primary zone of control that Alex wanted his team to try and lock down in. And from there, he can mid-round them into success. Does really well on the lurk to get rid of GXX at the very end. Last round of the first half here. Look at the buy that BNE are operating with. A Scout, 2 Deagles, and only a single M4.
Well, they have done more with less, Brandon. That's what got them their first round on the board. But again, it's not a practical scenario. The Synopsy looks to make use of his rifle in towards Connector. Molotov down early, still holds a bit of a pixel angle. Davi-G, though, looks to hold down presence in middle. Somehow tags Scenari there without taking any damage of his own, but Rigon, oh no! Manages to catch up in time. Davi-G falls flat. An AK is retrieved, but Martinez spins the corner. Tech9's poor old Rigon in the face, and Mopos entries towards B. This one, Flatro has a nightmare on his hands, and he will not wake up from it.
Is that? No. Synopsis shot
no.
the bomb. This round is in utter disarray. And now GXX with the Scout needs to try and reposition to help out his teammate, but he's been spotted by Alex. But the ultimate thing for Movistar is they need that bomb, and that is why Mopos is now flanking Connector. It's flanks on flanks. And I'm not sure if Synopsis is going to be ready for it. Yeah, do you know what? He is, because now he's in short.
I still can't quite comprehend how we got to this stage in the round, Brandon. I don't think Movi can quite either. They are at least adapting nicely. And as I said, Bad News Eagles have done more with significantly less. But Synopsy now holding that cross. The bomb isn't quite tucked into the tunnel, but it's in a position where you still need to take a wide swing to fight it, and Synopsy denies. Big kill, 10 seconds. They've just won the round. They've just won the round. What in the name of all things holy is going on there? As Bad News Eagles, well, they win out the CT half 8-7. It's not the cleanest from them, but regardless, they're going to be happy with that end result after the start that Movistar had.
I'm just trying to look at where Synopsy is in all of this. Oh, he just pushes short pipe. Okay, that's how the bomb gets dropped initially. And he re-walks the space that he originally took. That is a huge round for Synopsy and a critical one for BNE to be winning. It kind of ends their good half on a ends their first half on a positive note. Now they can set themselves up for success going into the second. This pistol, honestly, so valuable for Bad News Eagles.
Yeah, I mean, you said good half, and normally that is their best start, their best foot forward. Unfortunately for them, they have been denied a significant number of valuable rounds that so often they rely on in order to even remain competitive in these second halves. Again, a monster loss to forZe earlier in this tournament. They were, what, 11-4 up, and they lose 16-12, 16-13. This doesn't make any logical sense. 11 rounds in a row for forZe on their CT side, I know that much. Then Movistar looked to replicate something similar and close out here where they couldn't quite do it against Spirit in yesterday's second map.
Let's see it, because they've got to deliver right here, right now. Smoke, flash, Hellcase as we get into this pistol round. JXX, one flat throw, both with kills on the entry. It's a Stormer on towards the B-bomb site.
there?
Put me back in the game, please. Rigon swinging through connector, deals with Sasso and Scenari. Actually just follows suit. Mopos hits the deck. Martinez last alive, but can't find a thing. That is a great pistol round from Bad News Eagles.
Yeah, the Bad News Eagles starting to sound like one with their screeches. Their war cry. As a little more strain is now painted on the faces of the Movistar crew. Very nice long-range gun battles won out here by the pistols. And you give Martinez an AWP, he wins that duel any day. But with the USP, it's not quite enough. Bad News Eagles, have they done enough to stay competitive in this second half? 1.46 to the 2.74 according to our 1xBet odds. And you might not have meant to in the previous round, Brandon. The Fatboy Slim reference was gorgeous. Bad News Eagles are looking to seize this map right here, right now. Martinez, though, finds the opening kill on Flatro. Sidelined, at least temporarily. Can they steal away a force fight in this second of the second half?
It's a lot more diligent right now for Bad News Eagles. They're taking control over towards connector. They're slowing down the pace because they know themselves. And what would they do in this scenario? They'd push the issue. So they're making sure that Movistar don't follow in the same suit. Just waiting for an opportunity to present itself. If it doesn't, they're all going to group up together and just hit a bomb site. Doesn't really matter which one, as long as they do it together. Creeping through the toilets, A seems to be the final destination so far. And you know what? That's a pretty good choice, because it's just Martinez with the scout.
Yeah, I mean, he's been doing well already to find a single kill, but Synopsy will instantaneously deny him anything further. Rigon with the lurk on B, it's perfect, and Salsalt takes a long time to deal with him with that smoke blooming as well, actually thrown from the A side offensive. Well, it spurns Movi into thinking there might be more presence than there really is on B. With that, the A bomb site's left completely barren, and all they'll get from this round is maybe a Galil save.
Yeah, that's unfortunate for Movistar. Sometimes that's just the reality of Counter-Strike, though. You stack 4 players on one bomb site, Bad News Eagles go to the other. It's a tale as old as time. Everyone's experienced it at least 50 times in their games.
And as you said on the desk, sometimes may be good, Brandon.
Sometimes.
You stacked the wrong bomb site. Sorry, I interrupted. You may continue.
Double digits.
Yeah, that's pretty solid, to be honest. That is already the same amount of T-side rounds that they're able to put up against forZe. Let's see if they can continue this now that we get into a couple of gun rounds. Movistar, actually, they won't have the money to fully invest here. They have at least stolen away a Galil. Let's see if that will have any real impact on the next.
Oh, nice shot. Didn't quite catch that the first time around. Did see this, though, from Rigon. Even deploys the smoke as well to create a little bit of mystery for Movistar. Interesting decision as well. Partially investing just around the saved rifles does make sense. So now they can... Oh, that's brave. I kind of rate it, but doesn't quite work out as intended. Mopos on the Deagle. Could catch out Rigon, and he does. Great headshot. But has he got any more in his locker? Thinking about pushing the issue. Saneri, all too wise to Mopos's tricks.
Yeah, with that two-man advantage, what little was brought into the round for Movistar has little effect on Bad News Eagles. A kill onto Rigon is nice, but Davigi cannot further things. Alex now left on the Galil, does have Kevlar to his name, but not much else. Saneri is spotted out. The frag won't be converted. There's a Molotov on him as well to trap him into the bathrooms as one. Flat throw. Thought he had his name and number.
Uh-oh.
As Alex has just found two. Bomb has been only recently put down. There is still time here. Alex could potentially go for an attempt. If only he knew GXX was on the MAC-10, then perhaps he'd be more confident in this attempt. And now that he kills him, it's a 1 versus 1, but I don't think he's got the time to get to the bomb site. Might even take Synopsy down with him. Very cautious about a rear flank here, but he should be more worried about Long. And Alex, by God! What an incredible effort! 4 kills, and if only he was a little closer to the bomb site, he would have won!
Yeah, but he wasn't, and he isn't, and that's why BNE went for the hunt. I mean, incredible stuff from Alex. He kills everyone, but quite simply does not have enough time for that defuse. You see, Bad News Eagles not really shaken or stirred by that one too much, because at the end of the day, look, we need to reinvest, but the most important thing is that they got the round. Movistar Riders yet to score as the sides are swapped.
Yeah, speaking of shaken or stirred, only 7 rounds on the board for Movistar Riders here. They will need to start improving on that soon. I mean, they've almost got a Martini on the team. Martinez. No, James Bond references. They're not landing with Brandon today. Utility doesn't quite land on the AWP either. Forces him back into bathrooms at least. As Davig's been forced to the grave very early on. Synopsy, that's a lovely opening frag, and that's not how Movistar Riders wanted this round to get off to.
There's been so many instances where Bad News Eagles are finding these kills just through the monster smoke by simply spamming. Sasso under a lot of pressure now, as to his Mopos, but at least he finds Rigon. That gives a chance on Movistar as they make it an even playing field. My eyes are haphazardly keeping an eye on Juan Flatro as well, who's making decent progression up towards the divider angle. As Bad News Eagles look to sink their claws into B, it could be a little bit of a deception here with Juan Flatro on A.
He is at least keeping Martinez held towards the bomb site, and it appears there's a bit of a rotation coming through as Alex ebbs his way off the B side. I tell a lie, it will be a boost towards the short side for now. But it appears A will actually be the point of contention when Flatro spots out one, but Alex does quickly trade. It's a 3v3, there's an opportunity here, but the lack of utility makes me worried for this retake attempt. Movistar, they might be mowed down before they can even get to the bomb site when Flatro's in bank, and he's banking on a kill here. But Alex has slipped the net, and Saneri has been spotted towards Long. If Alex can find this kill, there is still hope in the round. When Flatro, though, still dancing about, Saneri deals with the initial threat. And Mopos and Salsa, what can they really do? The Salsa's flank is just seemingly a little too late.
Well, Mopos does have a kit. Could definitely give that one a look in. They line up. Sasso and Mopos do combine, and now he can get on the bomb potentially, but Mopos, he's got to run all the way around. It is for default, it is for GXX, and there's simply no time, and you can't get past the AWP. BNE up to 12.
Bad News Eagles appear to have threaded a bit of a T-side strat together. They had a day to do it. Clearly they've been working hard. Movistar, I suppose they've gotten what they've came for in this tournament already, and that was a single series win. They've extended that. They've got themselves into the playoffs, and they've got multiple opportunities to make it further. It's a double elimination bracket, but they would prefer to stay in the upper echelons, especially against a side they respect so much.
What do you think about this buy? Sasso on the AWP, the hero AWP over Martinez.
I mean, Martinez clearly hasn't been feeling as confident as he normally is on this map so far. I'm not against it. It's a curious decision.
Oh, it's for spawn. Okay, that makes more sense.
Okay, we're fine. Synopsy, though, looks to make sense of Mopos' position, catches him off easily. Davy a nice trade, but this should be another round for Bad News Eagles with little to no contention. As the Pistols, they're swiftly overwhelmed, and Martinez, well, he's been given the ult back. As you caught me off guard with the line of questioning there, but it's okay. Martinez, although he's not quite been as impactful as he was yesterday, still has an opportunity to deliver, but that window is fast shrinking as Bad News Eagles, they find 13. But this is also the scoreline that Movistar yesterday came back upon on by Spirit.
What?
I don't know. This is the scoreline there that slipped to Spirit. There you go, Brandon.
I see, okay. So they can come back. I see what you're saying. It's like revenge for themselves.
Yes.
Yeah, I get it. I'm picking up what you're putting down, vaguely.
I'm glad you are, because my mind is still fried from yesterday.
I'm impressed with Juan Flatro. I like the fact that he is having a significant impact on this T side. And to be honest, we put up a head-to-head on the screen on the desk, GXX versus Martinez. To be honest, it's been Synopsy versus Sassol. I feel like that's been a really interesting discussion point. Both of them having significant impact, mainly on their first halves, right?
Yeah. But just jumping back onto Juan Flatro for a second.
Yes.
He was one of the lowest rated players on the team coming into this event, and admittedly that was mostly off of online matches, but he was one of the reasons that they lost out in the grand finals to Aurora. He was having a couple of really rough games. His original, I think, 1.1 plus rating had fallen to a 1.02 in the past 3 months. It was really the GXX show. It was only above the IGL on the team come the end of it. So it's good to see that Juan Flatro has been able to start performing again on LAN.
Yeah, it looks really good, and he's one of those players that can really take the game by the scruff of the neck, as can all the BNE players, but it was normally his name that we'd be crying out on the casting desk saying how good Juan Flatro is. So it's really nice to see him have a resurgence here, and what a perfect time to do so, by the way, in the playoffs of the LAN finals.
Yeah, Rigon as well, keeping up a decent form. He was another of the top performers with JXX coming into this competition. Yeah, both of them currently sit negative, but Rigon looks to change that swiftly. Another opening kill for BNE, as Movistar are just unable to deal with them, any of their positionings. A nice spam onto Scenario, it takes him down low, but again, it's not the full kill, it's not the real deal. More damage dealt, the man's on 2 HP, it's a valiant effort from Mopos, but it's Salsol again to pick up a double. Massive stuff from the right side, headshot angle. There's into the 3v3 we go.
Yeah, look at B.
Oh dear.
They're already through the back lines. Juan Flatro has got complete control, and all the distraction at long was all a little bit of a ruse. BNE plant. Anchor down on towards B, and now it needs to be a retake for Movistar. Plenty of utility. You got a couple of defuse kits as well. Let's see if they can make it happen, if they even want to go for it.
I mean, they've got to start picking the pace up. They definitely do want to go for it, and Salsa is the perfect man to entry, but they need to line up the utility for him properly. They have at least ascertained GXX's position, but by God, full blind goes back for a blinder. Now the defuse kits, both players have one, but Martinez no longer has a life to use it with. Davy G cut down by GXX. What a round from the AWP! That is immaculately played.
The confidence on this man to go for not one, but 2 re-swings onto both of the players in short. And then the third kill is devastating. It is the cherry on top. Bad News Eagles, in amongst all of this commotion, Movistar Riders rotate through connector. They think it's all secure. Guess what? There's a hole in the defense. It's in towards one, so this third shot. My goodness me. BNE are thriving on Overpass.
Oh, Brandon, I take it back. I don't think Movistar Riders have won this veto anymore. Bad News Eagles, the best T-side we've ever seen out of them on Overpass, coming in the opening round of playoffs versus the biggest upset team we've seen in the tournament thus far.
This is an interesting stack. Triple boost. Okay, to see over the top of Monster doesn't quite work out. In fact, Sassol just falls off it completely. So now we're going to get a different one. 4 players start on B for Movistar in this scum round.
I mean, I feel like they need that many players in one place to actually win out a round, because 2 and 3 have just not been enough for really even the kills to come out. Mopoz flashes into connector. Unfortunately, there's a smoke barring his vision. The spam doesn't quite fully connect. But Rigon looks to connect a few shots in towards Monster here as Martinez has not had a kill in a very long time. Rigon would be nice to add to the tally, but no, it is denied. Mopoz trades, but one flat throw, another. Bad News Eagles are running rampant all across the map, and the Spaniards have not put up a single CT round.
They're panicking. Look at the rotations again in towards A, off the back of one kill out in towards long toilets. Now Mopoz looks to reset, but 35 seconds. BNE starts to make their move towards B. From the heavens, Mopoz will strike. And in fact, there's a player in the water. I've completely overlooked Mopoz. He's actually down in the shallows. But Juan Flatro will trade. 2v2, making a 1v2 GXX. Smoke to obscure vision. Digits punched in, but Davy G's been here the entire time as he looks to transition up. He locks in the round. Movistar Riders, it's their first on the CT side.
And by God, it could not come soon enough, Brandon. Bad News Eagles were one away from match point. Yeah, it's nothing to be concerned about yet for the Eagles, but they can't allow this to become more than an exception. But Martinez really having a rough time of it here. As much as he's holding a left eye peak angle, he just gets obliterated by Rigon in seconds. Mopoz, absolute hero of that round, picks up one with a FAMAS, switches to an AWP, catches another. And Bad News Eagles can't quite recover from it. BNE this time calling attack pause in order to ensure there is no momentum gained here. They want to let them sit, they want to let them dwell. Hopefully, this isn't a sign of the only round to come for the Spanish side.
So the tap of the head from Devil Walk as well. Keep cool heads, keep focused. So close to that finishing line for Bad News Eagles. After what looked like a very good start for Movistar, they've not been able to get the ball rolling in this second half, in the really favoured CT side as well.
Yeah, I mean, I don't want to be beating a dead horse here when I say that this is a ridiculously CT-sided map, and Bad News Eagles are typically terrible on the offensive, but Martinez is in a terrible spot, down to 42 already, and Rigon onto Salsol.
I think that was on the jump boost.
That's ridiculous. He's been the saviour of this Movistar side. Losing him is pretty tragic, and Alex, he's overlooked Juan Flatro's position. It's a 5v1, and we had 1 minute and 20 on the clock, Brandon.
Yeah, this is a case of a tactical timeout being called. Bad News Eagles reset, keep calm, keep focused, and the push is out towards B. Movistar Riders, they've been sending a lot of reinforcement out towards short to kind of deal with the pressure that BNE have been applying late round. If they can take the control, they can leave one player there for information. But as a result, Rigon gets the entry, and from there, everyone just falls in towards Synopsis' crosshair. Martinez, the best he can do is try and hold on to the AWP. But you can see they're already swarming him. They're already thinking about hunting him.
Yeah, Martinez, well, he survives for now, but probably not for long. Spotted out from long by Scenari, and that's 15 on the board, and not even double digits to Movi. Everwalk looks to send Movi back to the hell from whence they came. And he's doing it with a swagger in his step and a hell of a lot of enthusiasm behind the BNE side. Rig on the crosshair placement, fantastic for the reaction speed, even more tantalizing.
It feels like BNE cannot put a foot wrong so far on this T side. And you take a look at what Movistar Riders have brought into this round just to try and survive. 2 M4s, limited util, and they have to defend against a fully fledged B attack. With Synopsis splitting in from short, hard Flatro with the opener. Everyone is starting to fall. At least there's trades for the side of Movistar. Sassol trying to do his best work on the FAMAS, but that's the bomb site compromise. 2 versus 2 to keep Movistar in overpass.
Yeah, they have only a single smoke to retake with no kit on either player. The odds heavily favouring BNE here, and especially in this round. Alex pushes the smoke and can't even find the first. GXX, a miracle worker on this lower site, especially on the T side. Martinez, he's locked on out, but what's happened, Brandon? Why are we
I don't like this, GXX.
Oh, with
Ball
the bomb.
back in towards B. You don't need to reset here. This is really weird. But he is holding. He's waiting. Maybe he's even going to be rewarded. He wants the kill and he will find it. That's a really unorthodox way to close out the map pick of Movistar, but Bad News Eagles do it in style. Don't even need to force Martinez out and flush him into that retake. They do it with aplomb, and that's a really good T-side.
I'll be honest, I am in shock. That is, again, the best T-side performance we have ever seen from Bad News Eagles on Overpass in their history of playing the map. And on the flip side, Movistar, who had a pretty damn convincing CT side yesterday, fell completely flat. They did nothing on the entirety of the half. They had one gun round where they got lucky off the back of Mopos' individual plays, and Salsal, as much as he was a hero on that T-side, he just wasn't able to deliver the same impact on the defense. And now going over to Ancient, it's not the strongest of maps for Movi. I really don't know what else to expect.
Yeah, look, it's a really comfortable map for Bad News Eagles, and it means that Movistar are in very troubled waters. And without any further ado, I think we should throw it back to the analyst desk. We're doing kind of rap references for names. I'm going to hit you with some. I feel like it's going to be Bugsy Palone and also Grimmy Rascal.
Deary me.
Okay.
Grimmy
Bugsy
Rascal.
Palone.
I like these.
And
What's-
Grimmy Rascal. Thank you so much for that.
Who let the dogs
Be-
out?
Can I finish my introduction, please, young man? Thank you for the cast, B-Dog and Sneaky, and welcome to the desk, B-Dog. Yeah,
Thank
Movistar Riders there, not making it work on Overpass, and the Eagles saw over map 1. Really good and solid performance by B&E. I'm surprised that it went so smoothly, considering it was not their pick, and Devilwalk in that pre-match interview with Veracity was saying we lost the veto.
Yeah, apparently not anymore. Overpass went really well, and the roles got reversed. We were saying yesterday Movistar had quite a weak T side, but a really good CT side. BNE, same kind of similar mentality, and then they win, 8 rounds in a row flawlessly. They don't drop a single round on that T side, and at the very end there, when you're like, oh, I don't like this from GXX, he was getting aggressive.
Yeah.
He had a really weirdly good T side on that orb, and then Martinez, I just never saw him, and I was thinking, like, with GXX, I wanted him to do more on the CT side, came on the T side, and then did that.
Yeah, he was finding an incredible amount of impact, especially on that T side. And just in general for BNE, I guess it's a mentality shift. You've got the day off as well as the luxury of winning the best of 1 and the best of 3 on day 1 of the entire tournament. So you can go away, reflect, and Overpass is a map that they have been playing, so Devilwalk can try and refine it a little bit, look over mistakes. You've now got a tail of the tape to go ahead and work on, and, well, it's clearly worked, hasn't it?
Yeah, I'm sure the players are already feeling the effects of having a leader like Devilwalk with so much experience. Do you guys think on Overpass, I mean, did we see anything new there from BNE that looked a little different from the times that they've been playing Overpass before?
For me, it was GXX playing a lot more passive on that AWP on the CT side. That really surprised me. And then it was just, I guess, kind of similar with the themes of just constant entries all over the map. Synopsis having a great tournament. One Flatcher starting to join him. Rigon had some really good entries. Like, he just dueled Martinez on the B bomb site at multiple times. And just really good revitalization, a theme of them during this tournament, able to use their good energy. And you could see that the Spaniards were shouting, and then when the Kosovars started shouting, they were shouting at Movistar. I think it was Scenari on the end was, you know, cupped hands, directing his shouting towards the other team and getting inside their head.
Yeah, I love seeing when players, you know, really get into it in the booth, when they're being vocal and they're trying to get into the enemy team's heads. And maybe that played into it here. Maybe it worked. Brandon, so BNE, I think a very exciting team to watch when they are doing well. Is there anything else that stood out to you about their victory on map 1 Overpass?
On that T side, it looked like they were trying to deliberately condition Movistar to always be wary of A, because what you could see is, in particular, I feel like Juan Flatcher had that round where he snuck by Martinez, caught him on the jump boost, and from there, Movistar Riders made sure that they always had an extra player that was supporting the AWP because he was having a really rough going of it. And as a result, when Bad News Eagles were going for these fake late takes in towards Monster with the utility being dropped down on towards A, every single time smokes rained over with flashbangs, the rotations came in immediately from Movistar. It was a free pathway, a free avenue each and every time Bad News Eagles wanted to go B.
Scoreboard up on screen now. Everybody at home. Movistar Riders on the left. Bad News Eagles on the right. Yeah, it would have been great to see Martinez have more action with the AWP. I'm not sure how many times he actually had in his hands. Could he have had more impact, guys?
Yeah, definitely. Like, he had it in his hands enough times to have the impact, and he just didn't. He was sitting on around 8 kills for far too long, and GXX was able to farm around on that T side. Like, he has the lowest kills on the scoreboard, but he had a lot of rounds where he had a lot of impact.
Yeah. Guys, let's look ahead because we have just a couple minutes left before we have to go to a break. So Ancient now going into Bad News Eagles pick. I can't see how they let this one go. I went out on a limb. Yeah, Movistar's 2-0, but I'm flip-flopping now to a BNE 2-0.
Yeah, I think I'm on the same avenue. I do think that's what's going to happen. I thought the odds at first were a little bit unfair against the Spaniards, but now looking at that first map, and especially that we're going on to Ancient, that I always predicted was going to go the way of BNE. I always said that if it's going to be a Movistar win, it's going to be a 3-mapper. I don't see us making that third map, and I think this could be our second fairly decisive win of the day.
Yeah, Ancient was always a good map for BNE even before the changes, and now because of the timings on Ancient, although it has still been a few months, it really just plays into BNE further. They're a really aggressive team. They like to get up close and personal. The fact that now the timings are in favor of them and they can reach a lot of key choke points before Movistar riders, who are already looking like they're kind of falling off a little bit in terms of the individual gunfights, it's going to be really difficult for them to work their way back into the game. I want to see Movistar riders on the CT side be a lot more proactive, kind of pushing extremities a lot more, and taking the fight and trying to set the tempo, because as soon as they do that, BNE are going to have to look for an immediate response. If you give the respect and the authority over to Bad News Eagles, they're going to completely run you over.
Freddie and Brandon, thank you so much for your thoughts. Yeah, everybody, this is our second upper bracket semi-final, and BNE have pulled ahead. If they win that next one, they are in a great position. Do not go anywhere. We'll be back from map number 2, BNE's pick of Ancient, very shortly.
I have very complicated job, but I love simple things so much. One move, one push. One touch. One love. One click. One X-bet.
You look into your inventory and there's only... It's time to forget about this garbage. Here you will find everything to play with really cool skins. Open top cases. Upgrade dropped skins and turn your junk into a cool gun using the contract system. Every day, thousands of people upgrade their inventory with us. Hellcase.com. Look at yourself in a new way.
And let's introduce our second guest, Regali, formerly of Game Agents or Fnatic Rising, now playing in Copenhagen Flames, absolutely tearing up the scene right now. They've been playing super well. They've won some of our tournaments.
Hello everybody watching this.
You guys are playing an obscene amount of games.
Trained a lot, we practiced a lot.
Were you a bit worried after you joined? And
he was one of the main reasons I really wanted to join Copenhagen Flames. Right now I became strong with rifle as well.
The thing is, it sounds like you're continuing to expand your game.
We are playing way better in officials.
How do you find time to practice? You guys have obviously been placing super highly in these events consistently now.
I think with the new uppers is they're trying to do a new meta. Basically, they try to do things in their own play style. So most of them do repeats a lot, and or do some pushes like you don't understand sometimes, but most of the time it works actually, because meta has changed a lot and you can learn a lot from the new guys that are coming. Wonderful is probably one of the best here. I think I don't know, he's a young talent, he has a lot of potential. If he keeps working hard, he can be a top player, I think. My issue was that I was communicating not like the other players did. I'm fixing that, and It's been going really good with the new coach, Devil Walk. He helped me a lot to improve. He helped us improve to not overpeak because it was our thing. And now we're not losing some rounds like we used to do.
Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back once again to Bad News Eagles versus, well, a rather underwhelming Movistar Riders. I'll be honest, Bad News Eagles made me look very, very silly. I said that their T-sides were abysmal, which in fairness was true earlier on in the tournament, but I don't know what magic Devil Walkers worked overnight. Yesterday, they clearly did some form of boot camping as they came back and destroyed the Spaniards. And finished the game, what, 16-8, Brandon, I believe it was.
Yeah, look, it was a really dominant T side from BNE. And now they start again on that attacking side on Ancient. It's their map pick. As we kick things off underway immediately, Martinez, who was looking a little bit absent from Overpass, immediately enters the kill feed, gets lost just for a second, but the adjustment onto GXX is fantastic. Ground given up for BNE, though, as Movistar Riders leave holes in the defense that Juan Flatro looked to exploit. Peeking on down, Davy G removed, and as to potentially could be Mopos, but Martinez is in the back lines in towards Donut alongside Alex, but with BNE taking the space so proactively, they've now got a pathway to B.
Yeah, Juan Fletcher is the whole puncher, it seems, as he slices through the defense of Movistar, and he's looking for more. Martinez, he's had such a good start to this round, to this map. Can he continue it? Can he find another? Needs a fourth kill here onto Juan Flatro as he's continually pressured upon. But this is bought time for Alex with a kit in the backlines to come on through. Juan Flatro only 11 HP left, but they still have to deal with Ceneri, and time is ticking away. Look at this. The flank is being outflanked by another flanker in Ceneri. The cave position is in jeopardy. Alex does at least deal with Juan Flatro. The defuse can be started, but Ceneri is still an unknown entity. Are they even going to be looking for this position? Martinez certainly won't be, and Ceneri plays it to perfection. There's no time for the defuse. Martinez might have found 4, but it's not enough for the Movistar Riders. And Bad News Eagles pick up exactly where they left off.
What a flank coming in at the perfect opportunity for Bad News Eagles. Just when you think that Martinez has done more than enough, and when the player falls on the bomb site, you start to believe that Movistar Riders can just cut the wires, but no, instead, it's Bad News Eagles prevailing. What a flank by Ceneri.
And also what a buy for Movistar here. They've got Alex on util and an M4. It's a full investment. They're looking to steal away the second round. There's been a recurring theme on the server today. The Synopsy. Very nice Galil, I must say. Bad News Eagles had some skins gifted to them by the YouTuber Sparkles, so congratulations for making the major. Fun little facts for you. Hence they all have souvenir Bad News Eagles stickers. But regardless, Rigon is looking to stick a couple of rounds into the head of Southsol, but he will not be able to. The MP9 overpowers for the opening frag, but Ceneri quick to trade and still a hefty advantage for this aggressing T side.
Yeah, important for Ceneri to not only get the trade, but escape with the bomb, because that could have been caught in no man's land. Fortunately, that isn't the case. Now he resets with his team, GXX. Looks to find Martinez, who is occupying Donut. This time the pistol doesn't have quite the same potency up against the SMGs and the rifles. Davy G's unknown. Oh, and he's playing this one potentially to perfection, but he does get spotted out by Synopsy. 3 versus 2 in favor of Movi.
And that's a big kill from GXX, immediately thinning the numbers of the opposition. He's evened the ground and even upgraded to an AK. Davy G, roughly aware of Teneri's position. He knows that's where it's planted for, but Alex, look at the awareness from him, holding down that CT angle for the entire round, as now the bomb needs to be touched. It needs to be stuck as time is really whittling away. Teneri dancing around, just waiting to seize an opportunity onto the diffuser, but Alex holds it down, and that's the reason he's one of the highest rated IGLs and players on this Movistar squad.
Yeah, for sure. Really nice stuff by Alex, making sure that he is the bodyguard for Davy G, but also providing just a sight line in towards CT. Already been burned by one of these flanks, and the Pistols want to ensure that it doesn't happen twice in a row. Movistar, immediate rebuttal.
Cool, and Whitney Houston with the way he bodyguarded that round, Brandon.
That one's gone right over my head.
No, that's fair enough, Brandon. Look it up afterwards, great musical. Anyway, 2 AKs, 3 Ds coming into this round for the likes of B&E. You're making me doubt myself now. I'm worried it's not Whitney Houston. Anyway. He's Googling it as we speak. Synopsy edges his way in towards Jaguar with the Deagle in tow. Spams on down. But to no avail thus far.
It is Whitney Houston.
Okay, thank God. That was stressing me out. Molotov, though. Doesn't stress out B&E, but it does close them ever further down B lane. Look to group up towards middle here, though, with Synopsy. Well, as he joins up with the squad, they spot Davy G, but they can't remove him. This should still be around for Movistar here. They've got everything that they need, but there's a lot of space taken, and Red Room is so vulnerable. Oh, they've split the defense entirely down the middle.
And look at the smoke as well. It completely prevents Movistar from seeing a thing. It's just a blind spam. And now Davy G's got a mammoth task on his hands. Never mind, Rigon just deals with him. Sasso under pressure, looks to retreat away in towards the temple. Looks to control these engagements one by one. Takes 2, and that could be enough.
Juan Fletcher looks to take 2 with him as well as he spots them coming in from CT. Manages to stick a quick reload. Mopos has just spotted GXX though, but that works both ways. And the AK beats the MP9 in this deadly game of rock, paper, scissors. Martinez does deal with one Flatro though, leaving only a single threat remaining in towards Temple. And with that,
sticking it.
Yeah, the bomb is stuck and GXX is stuck in CT. Maybe he can take a rifle away with him, but needs to be careful as his health is low. And the chances of them winning that round are non-existent. Great stuff there from Movi to recover despite great util usage and a splitting of the defense and a cracking 1D by Rigon in that round.
I don't even see him on the replay. It's all about Sassol though, for me, in that moment. The presence of mind to escape, and where he repositions, he's able to fight B&E as they flood into his choke point one by one. Without that multi-kill, honestly, you consider whether Movistar even go for a retake like that.
Yeah, Mopos starting strong in this one. Forget retaking, taking space in the first place is denied for this T side. Interesting that they constantly go for the, oh no, again, he saved it over, ignore my musings. As GXX saving that AK in from the previous round, does add a little bit of spice to this Deagle buy. Movistar on the flip side though. Working with an AWP on Martinez, but now without Davy G and Alex. A very nice explosion onto B, but that's not even where they're looking to finish up. They've taken Donut. They've got Salso isolated again on an island. And if he peeks in towards Donut at the wrong time, when Flatro could well have his scalp. Although Salso does spot this, does throw in a Molotov, but Synopsy's already in front of it. This could go very sour very quickly, as look at the positioning of GXX as well.
Oh, Martinez just on the cusp of the smoke though. It's an opportunity. It's a way back in. And now for B&E, with that bomb dropped, it really just kind of makes their mind up for them. And now they're being flanked upon in towards A main. Rigon's got no idea. Although he has spun round, found Sasso on the swivel, but there's one more. MOPOS with the MP9. Is he going to be checked and considered? Well, kind of, but he does win out the gunfight anyway. Juan Flatro, GXX, and the entire time GXX, oh, he's been so quiet. There's the AWP removed, and now MOPOS, his position was known from the get-go. What an afterplant from Bad News Eagles.
Yeah, Bad News Eagles look to close one more door as they don't want to hurt anymore, Brandon. Lovely stuff from them coming through. And they stem the bleeding, equalising the scoreline. Massively well played with such a weak investment coming in. And GXX biding that timing. He really does play it to perfection. His pounce is one of the main reasons that round is secured. Because if Martinez was still holding down that angle, absolutely it would have gone the way of Movi.
It's the discipline of him not to immediately aggress on the flank. He waits until the last possible moment, right when BNE actually need him to strike. And it does catch Martinez off guard. Really well played. Again, lane control, mid, already established by Bad News Eagles. Very difficult now for Movistar Riders to try and retake this early, and it gives over so much ground. The issue is, for Movistar, the only way they can really recoup a little bit of intel is if Sasol starts pushing this extremity out towards A main, tries to get a little bit of a glimpse into what life could be like over towards the B bomb site, because currently it's empty on A.
Well, MOPOS ensuring the B bomb site is completely void of CT presence. Just an MP9 and a defuse kit. I mean, it's nice to have those things behind him. But he'd rather not have all 5 Ts in front of him. Rigon ensures that will no longer be a problem. Not quite in the way, I'm sure, that would have been liked for the CT side. Alex, though, chimes on in with a FAMAS frag. There is a retrievable AK on the floor, and Daviji will be the one to pick that up. Not looking to let this one slip between their fingers is Synopsy, though. Big 2K spray down. Alex and Davi are both removed, and with that, it will be a third on the board to BNE. Salsa with just a dig. He looks to save that Kevlar, praying for an exit frag, but I don't think it'll be afforded to him. And Martinez, well, we need to save that MP9 over into the next, as the economy is not in a good place for the CT side.
This is so painful. It's such a bitter pill to swallow, the fact that you have to save an MP9 and a Deagle. I mean, it's because of the Kevlar, right? But it doesn't feel great. Really, just kind of intrigued just watching this T side and this first half in general just develop, because we are seeing so many flanks come in, not from just Movistar Riders on retakes, but also BNE on afterplants. And I thought Anubis was the map where we get all these flanks coming in as soon as the bomb site is planted, but no, Ancient is also delivering on that front as well.
I thought Anubis might have been this map instead.
Yeah, me too.
My original map thesis was Mirage Inferno and either Anubis or an Overpass. I got somewhat close, but then Movistar were like, you know what, let's ban Mirage first, play Overpass, and then they got absolutely bodied on it. So where does that leave us now? Well, it leaves us with Movistar in quite the predicament, especially in round number 6, as it's in fact, one upgraded pistol. MOPOS opting for the P2000. Davy G, his upgraded pistol might not survive too long. Juan Flacho ensures that Alex is removed swiftly, but Deagle unable to find anything here. Martinez's MP9 lands a dink, but nothing more, so the investment, the save, is effectively wasted, and look at how easily BNE clean up.
The game plan's really simple for BNE. It's to try and get as much leverage out of the red room as possible. As soon as you split the defense, you really make sure that whichever bomb site you attack, the defenders feel uncomfortable and they don't know which angle you're coming from. They're split between 2 mines. The crosshair is always temporarily adjusted as they're trying to swivel between 2 different angles. And it's been Juan Flatro. We saw it on Overpass in that first map. He was the guy going looking for information, see if he could prod and probe out towards A. This time it's him in middle on Ancient. That's his role. That's what he's looking to do. And in fact, he's going to find potentially a couple of openers, but no. A laboured spray allows Sasol the opportunity to strike.
How does he not get Davy at least there? He was standing right above him. He has all the sound cues. I'm sure the comms are loud, as the screams certainly are for Bad News Eagles. But Alex, that's a loud frag to find. It has a lot of impact. Synopsy, though, darts into the red room. Looks to get a little sneaky in the back lines. Does actually find 1 kill, almost a second there. MOPOS was low. Just couldn't quite convert. Smokes to Molotov and looks to maybe slip in towards the spawn here, but Salsa will be hiding behind it. And this is a far more convincing round for Movistar. Synopsy is indeed cut through. But the AWP and an AK on GXX and Sceneri slowly ebb their way onto B. They're not out of this round just yet. They want to still retain competitiveness, and Sceneri ensures they will do with that headshot onto Alex. Mopos, though, despite the low HP, will trade GXX. He's still alive. He's still fighting, and that bomb plant, not that they need the money come the next round, will be important down the line as Mopos now ebbs his way through. He should still be able to find this frag as Davy G doesn't even need to bait the shot. Instead, finds the kill with his opening bullet, and that will be the defuse coming in. A stabilization here for the CTs.
Yeah, for sure. And it's interesting just looking at the approach, because Movistar are starting to realize that that could be the case. So this time they proactively fight towards middle. They send 2 players early to really deal with the threat, and then they concede control. They make Bad News Eagles waste valuable time trying to re-clear out middle. And from there, they can put their pieces in the best possible position. Lovely shot at the end for Davy G on the highlight reel. A pause and a water break for Bad News Eagles.
As Freddie said yesterday, the water buff is imminent. I think I might see an energy drink at the end of the table, but if you ignore that, stay hydrated, kids. When you're going for your 12-hour deep dives into the FaZe circuits, water is your friend. However, Movistar Riders are not friends with Bad News Eagles right now. Definitely going to be a little upset after losing their opening map pick. Looking to bring things back here though. Movi still the unexpected NC in this series, in this tournament. I'm looking forward to seeing what they can do on the CT side of Ancient. It's been early doors so far, but as we head into the middle ground, there'll be another gun round for both teams, and I'm enjoying at least the fact that Movistar are being more proactive in taking mid-presence, because that was a real crux for them in the early game.
Yeah, it's a really nice mid-round decision. However, Rigon does his best work on the entries, gets a little bit overzealous. Full blind, Sasso will find the trade. So mid, not under lock and key just yet for BNE. Synopsy now actually taking full control of Donut. Sasso has got to be so careful. Martinez is here, needs to turn around and really adjust for Donut because BNE are about to come piling on in.
Oh, they're not accounting for him though, and that allows Martinez to strike. He's back away behind the smoke, but Alex does more than fade away. He fires on in and goes 1 for 1. Despite again a lifeline for Movi, but look at this. Martinez completely sandwiched between 2. GXX on an AWP of his own. Catches the youngster looking the wrong way, and Mopos now a 1v2, and he himself has been spurned in the wrong direction. He doesn't know where the bomb is, Brandon. He doesn't even know where these last 2 players are. They could have already scampered off the B for all he knows. He's going to have to listen closely and differentiate between the bomb plant sounds as the bomb does go down on A. This will be heard, but can Mopos win out a 1v2?
No utility, no kit. But he has got the element of surprise. Sneaks his way through. Scoping on in. This crossfire is quite dangerous. But one flat throw. Oh, it looked a little bit dicey. But he does win out the engagement. Bad News Eagles recover that situation. It's the even trades in towards mid, but a burst of pace out towards Donut nets a good round.
I'm never going to get tired of their bursts of energy either after they win a round on the side of BNE. I love the way they keep their own confidence high. As GXX keeping a very high caliber in this map. Very, very nifty on that AWP. As we again get a tactical timeout from Movistar here. They lose a round, they want to kill the pace. Now, I've not been keeping proper count, but I think this is already our 4th tactical timeout, and we're barely halfway through the opening half here.
It feels like it, doesn't it? It's really methodical. It's a real mental gymnastics from both of these teams.
But it is interesting to see how more often timeouts are called on LAN versus online. Just looking at CCT as an example.
Yeah.
Both of these teams have played in it a lot, and Bad News Eagles were definitely lacking them online.
And that's been one of my criticisms when I've been casting online CCT. I'm like, please just take timeouts more. Not just for Bad News Eagles. I'm not talking about them in isolation. I'm talking about just every team online. I feel like there's a lot of moments in which they are necessary, and you should definitely take full advantage of them. As Overpass takes full advantage of that tiny little hidey hole. It's a shock and surprise, but at the end of the day, it's quite a bit of damage, to be fair. 2 kills. Martinez does have an AK, but they know exactly where he is.
Yeah, I like the way Sineri sent ragdolling as well by the USP frag there. Synopsy, as you said, aware of Martinez's position, goes for a spam, but it's Rigon defying the frag. And further Eagles cries come out from the BNE side. Emotive words, emotive actions. Blade far more calm on the opposite end of proceedings. Mopos, they've made that cubby hole wider, I'm sure of it.
I'm not sure. I can't. Maybe we need to fact check it. However, next time I'm playing Ancient, I'm going in there. And I'm going to LAN next week, so watch out.
Are you actually playing?
I am.
I'm very jealous. I wish I could make it for the full weekend. Hopefully I'll see you on Friday regardless, but that's besides the point. Bad news Eagles. They've seen a huge resurgence in their T-side rounds.
I don't want to cut you off.
That's
Sorry,
okay, go ahead.
G, look at this out from A main. This is very fast from Movistar Riders. There's not been too much pressure from Bad News Eagles over towards this A side of the map, and he's here already. He can get 2 if he's lucky. No way! The spray, it's just not good enough from Davy G.
Davy G's sprays have been so inconsistent this tournament. I mean, he could drop 25 kills and then still miss the easiest frag he's been opportunized the entire game. And oh, that was so painful. There's a reason he's 2-7, it seems. As Salsal left to pick up the pieces, but Synopsy's right there to trade on back. Davy G does at least make up for the discrepancy. It's a man advantage, but it's still not the round. That could have been glorious. And the prominent piece of the puzzle in GXX could also have gone down if that trigger discipline had ended nicely. Sineri not looking to be nice, though cuts off Mopos, Alex to trade. Again, the man advantage for the CT side. I think this might just be enough if Martinez lands this kill, but he won't. And now the bomb can rotate back over to the 3A bomb site. This has been such a mess for Movistar.
Yeah, but Alex is there with the AWP. And that puts things back into kind of more of an even kilter for Movistar Riders. Double AWP, sure, that's completely fine. Sineri could be provided a window of opportunity here to plant in towards Donut, but there is smokes. The issue is no kit for any of these players. He could worm his way into a pretty decent position, knows that he can't really go too long range because there are AWPs on the other end. So instead he's going to tuck on in really close towards CT.
Sineri's looking to add 1 round to the highlight reel here. 3 players. 3 potentially isolated duels, and he will find the first onto Davy G. Continues to spray. Alex will fall, but Martinez stems the bleeding yet again. And just about envelops the 4th round on the board for Movistar Riders, but it gets far too close for comfort. Bad News Eagles almost have a hero in Sineri. But regardless, the economic damage is severe. I don't think they will have a double AWP come this next round.
No, they won't. That was really expensive for Movistar Riders. Yeah, sure, they win it, but that's a 1 versus 3 thrown into a 1 versus 2. They were looking to save double AWP. Instead, it's just going to be the single.
And a FAMAS on Davy G.
And Alex.
Punishment for his previous failures in middle. Would have ensured that round would be much, much cleaner had he found one or both of them. The only good thing about that is he survives the ordeal and does get another frag towards CT. Rigon, though, so hungry for a frag, in fact, that he charges through fire and flame, lobs a flashbang round the corner and tries to catch Mopos off guard. He might just have done so, but Mopos smoke blooms just at the right time. He blooms into another frag, but one Flatro fragging out himself towards B lane. Picks one up on the ramp, and Davy G's next on the menu, but this time he does not fail the spray. And of course it's the FAMAS rather than the M4 he won't struggle with.
Again, look at this lurk play. Not only on Synopsy, who we're focusing on right now, but Sineri. Lurk smoke in towards A, starts to creep his way forward, keeps Martinez interested. There's a lot of pressure here for Sasso in towards Donut, just moving as best as he can. Even going to try and take the fight. That is so bold. Sasso, that's the last thing Synopsy expected.
Yeah, Sasso has been one of the pins of this series so far for Movi. The rest of the team weren't quite able to rise up around him in the previous map, but hopefully Salsa's able to deliver something similar when eventually Movi get to their T side. GXX and Sineri, though, looking to add a 7th to the tally here, but with a 2-man deficit, it doesn't look particularly likely. They have at least evaded the gaze of Martinez for now, but Martinez, you see a foot, and Sineri gets the head. Can they get ahead here with another onto Salsa? No. GXX misses another opportunity. MOPOZ will seal the deal. That is 5 rounds on the board, but Martinez was so tunnel vision towards A main there, he doesn't see legs dangling in front of him.
Yeah, no, absolutely not. But again, it's a much better defense from Movistar. They're starting to flash each other through and try and take these peaks. Sasol just takes the initiative and pushes that one on towards Synopsy. Just making sure that Bad News Eagles can't get into the back lines, can't flank, and Movistar Riders can focus all of their firepower onto one angle, which will be A main at the conclusion of round number 11. However, Juan Flatro fully blind through a smoke. Sure, Sasol, see you later.
Yeah, daviG swift to trade. daviG finds another. All he needed was an AK, it seems, as Rigon receives a painful blow. Flashbang rains on down from Juan Flatro. Is he flashing his teammates back out of middle? As now, speaking of flanks, Brandon, Alex looks to give the B&E boys a taste of their own medicine, and GXX runs right into his trap. Mission Admiral Akbar was in his comms there. As Movistar, they have somehow given B&E a free bomb site though, but not the actual bomb itself. Synopsy Shadow spotted. Can the USP seal the deal? Yes, it can. Juan Flatro, a nightmare 1v4.
Yeah, this gets a little bit difficult. Juan Flatro can't even find one. daviG, what a hat-trick of kills all across the map. 2 in towards Donut, important as soon as the ground is given up because of the opener found by BNE, and Juan Flatro's heroics blinded. Really couldn't see a damn thing. Actually catches a glimpse, I guess, of Sasol. Dives back in towards red. The double kill's perfect, the flanking aggression. We're starting to see these extremity pushes come out from Movistar Riders. It's giving them a lot of ground and, more importantly, just a lot of information.
Yeah, they're seizing on the ideas of BNE, and BNE tiredness appears to be seizing them. Rubbing of the eyes on the corner of the table there. The tactical balls comes on through, and Devilwalk is still trying to hype them up, but you can tell their reply is laboured in cheers. But this is definitely another necessary tactical timeout, as Movistar have begun to spiral things. Will this be enough, though, to turn the tide, to get Bad News Eagles something more, especially with such a little investment?
Yeah, that's a good point. And the fact that Bad News Eagles have already acquired 6 rounds on the T side of Ancient, you have to start to think, is that enough? Have they already done a significant dent into the hopes of Movistar in this series? Because 6 rounds on T side of Ancient, that's pretty good. 7, I'd say, is pretty much signed, sealed, and delivered.
Am I yours, Brendan?
For this cast.
We'll take it. MOPOZ takes Synopsy. The lurk has been removed, and the stacked bomb site will be evaded by the likes of Bad News Eagles. Juan Flatro, another gorgeous entry. There's a reason they've given him the rifle. daviG trades on out. The bomb will be planted. The spam through the wood. It is effective, but not enough to find both of the kills. GXX trades in tandem, but Martinez seals the deal. It does get dicey for a second, but the rotation is fast and the kills are clean.
Yeah, there's only 2 casualties, really. But the fact they get a bomb plant is really good just for the future development of this half for Bad News Eagles. It means they can invest and buy AKs and surround themselves in utility. I'm not quite sure of GXX's finances, but if you can get an AWP, that would really help out Bad News Eagles as they look to add a little bit further into that T side. I mean, 6 is, yeah, pretty good. I feel like they'd be happy with that already, but given the landscape of the game, given the manner in which they've won 6 rounds already, they probably would be a little bit disappointed that they've allowed Movistar an opportunity to get back into the game.
It seems to be a common theme, at least in the first half, that they're split down the middle in terms of their streaks. Bad News Eagles start off incredibly strong, Movistar Riders come on back. Similar story on the previous map as GXX snaps back onto Martinez. And that's the first AWP-on-AWP duel we have seen in a little while. MOPOZ, though, duels Juan Flatro and wins that one out, as he's definitely slowed down considerably towards the end of this half.
Rotations have already come through as well from Movistar. 3rd player, and I like this. They're going to push. They're going to get really aggressive here.
Yeah, the main problem for Bad News Eagles is that the bomb is left in spawn. It does allow them to rotate towards either site, but MOPOZ doesn't allow Scenario the opportunity to do so. And now GXX is forced to back on off. A bomb site is the weaker defended of the 2. Synopsy looks to try and discover this as Rigon discovers a huge hole in the defense. daviG felled where he stands, and now Only Salsalt sandwiched again between two.
Oh, look, that had a pretty good idea of where he was as well. But he wins out the fight on towards A main, and now Rigon looks to just get this trade. And you're right, 30 seconds, that bomb will be picked up by GXX. Sassol has smoked. Sassol has nearly gone through his own smoke. Blind fire from both parties, but neither resulting in any damage. Smoke on towards Donut. Rigon sets his sight moreover on CT. Flashbangs through to allow GXX over. It's a foot race, but that's the bomb dropped, and that's potentially the round over for Bad News Eagles.
It's not looking like this party will have sparklers for the likes of BNE. Instead, it sparks a fire in the bellies of Movistar as they start yelling in return. Coach pleased with that round. 3 left alive again for Movi. Not that the economy will matter too much for them as we find ourselves in the final round of the first half. And this side, at the very least, Movistar have guaranteed themselves the lead.
Yeah, that's very true. And it gets a little bit scary. Bad News Eagles, a lot of times in this first half, have gone for these late A plays. They feel like they've got a little bit of wiggle room because they've been putting pressure over towards B lane and ramp. But Movistar Riders, they've definitely been finding the solutions so far. Scenari looking to potentially swing on towards Jaguar. Boss, let's get the first kill, but not quite the second. Fully blinded, GXX does get the trade, but immediately, look in the feed. You're into a 4 versus 2. Bad News Eagles, a very difficult moment for them.
Yeah, they've opened their morning paper and it's bad news again. Let's look at this. They're practically touching in the smoke. Alex sees one flat throw before the opposite becomes a reality, and GXX not even on the AWP this time, left in what is a near impossible scenario. Martinez removed first and foremost, but bomb is dropped towards the top of ramp, and Alex is ever so close to the position. Another man is spotted though. Davy G in the back lines could still fall, but the time left on the clock starts to fall as well, Brandon, and this is beginning to look like a bridge too far. Bomb is still available, as is util for the likes of Movi, but increasingly less so now, as is manpower. But this time they look to strike in tandem. GXX, oh, he's relying on a lax trade spacing. Salsol finally puts GXX to bed, but why the hell does it take that long? A valiant effort there from the AWPer.
My goodness me. When he gets that first kill on towards Cave, you expect him to dart back around the default pillar and just pull the AWP back. Get it rebolted, but my goodness me, no. Sassol just swings. GXX, what an incredible attempt, by the way. 1 versus 4, brought it to a 1 versus 1. Has got the AWP at his disposal, and he just hits shots like it's nobody's business. But despite that, Movistar, they still survive. They get 9 rounds on the CT side of Ancient.
Well, it was 7 rounds for them on their T side of Overpass. Well, they'd be able to replicate a similar story at the half switch. As you've already said, 6 on the T side of Ancient. It's pretty nifty for the likes of BNE. As both teams get a moment to breathe here before the next pistol comes on him. We can see Movi checking their notes. Devilwalk clearly has a bit to say as well. Honestly, I could not tell you who's going to take this second map, Brandon.
Oh, look, it's definitely a CT-sided map still. I feel like, obviously, it has transitioned more into getting these fundamental T timings. And something I was alluding to before the game even started was the fact that I thought BNE would thrive in the environment. It's their map pick, and they have started to stumble. It was a very good opening into the half, but a very poor close. And now they need to just shake that off. They need to reset mentally and just secure the pistol, because, again, it all just starts with the pistol. It's a snowball effect, and for Bad News Eagles, they're going to look to really have a head-on collision in towards mid. Fully blind Mopos has a little bit of a go, and now another flashbang comes in. Davy G is being supported by Martinez, but look, all of these kills come in for Scenari. Bad News Eagles, it's 5 in mid, it's a 5-star performance, and they get the pistol.
My goodness me, what a clash in middle there. An absolute mess all over the shop. But it's modern art there for BNE in the midst of it all. Scenari, so much impact in that round. Dancing around Movistar as they're fully blinded. And that's exactly the start they desired. It's now full Glocks with one P250 on the likes of Salsol for Movi. The Spaniards are looking to web their way straight back into this with a gun round in the follow-up. This one's already a bit of a write-off, and Synopsy, well, he looks to write off some Spaniards with an MP9 push hit. Would be great for his own personal economy, perhaps the confidence too. Martinez spotted though. He is at least a distraction towards B. Maybe, with this overwhelming presence towards A, Movistar will be afforded a bomb plant, which would be a massive win in this round in itself.
Yeah, for sure. But you've also got this quick flank link coming from Synopsy. You've got two players that are now ready to try and stand and receive. And Rigon with that kill over towards A, that might entice Synopsy going for that fast flank, but no, they are just getting completely removed. Sassol with one at the end, it's just a consolation. BNE now moved to within one round of the Riders.
But this is the reason they didn't invest into the round. Movistar will now have guns to combat with. It'll be a little bit of a bonus buy for BNE still. 2 MP9s, but GXX on an AWP already. Okay, fair enough. Sacrifices util for the big green. Will it pay off, or will Movistar punish? Lacking a little bit in the util department across some players themselves, but use what they have to fight for middle early. The BNEs. Oh, their util is so much better. Davi to entry, though. Rigon to trade. Alex and Martinez. Well, they're dangerously low between them, and Rigon does the same to Mopos. Look at the mid-aggression and control in both the pistol and the first gun round for the likes of BNE.
Yeah, GXX got boosted up, and I think he legged Martinez. Something in that capacity. At least there's a trade in towards middle. Sassol has found that kill. The issue you've got is Movistar Riders are so spread out right now. There is a massive gap in towards middle that they could potentially exploit, but they are waiting. They've already been pushed back so far. In fact, they've been pushed all the way back to their spawn, right? So now they're just holding, trying to make sure that BNE don't re-aggress, don't re-push the issue, don't force them into any uncomfortable gunfights.
There's going to be a lot of uncomfortable gunfights if they stick with this level of spacing, but at least there's some unity between Salsol and Alex for two higher HP players, as Martinez looks to be a distraction. Oh, the back end of Alex is spotted, though. And GXX immediately rotates on off, pushes out towards the A bomb site, and Salsol is removed too. Martinez can't get anything done as one Flatro upgrades himself to an AK for free and farms up $600 for his troubles as the MP9 sings sweetly.
And this is going to be something that Bad News Eagles are going to do basically every round on CT side. Get aggressive, get really in the face of Movistar Riders, take control of mid, take control of shelf, because that is so powerful. It really restricts and limits the options that Movistar Riders have to operate in for the rest of the round. And if GXX is being dynamic, as such, in that round he started on B, then he moved over towards A. This time again, he's starting over on this B side of the map. It's good. It's a lot of confidence on this man right now. And that is why he's so keen just to really get involved in the fray.
He's keen to win out these clutches as well. He came very close in the final round of the first half. 3 out of 4 required. If he'd had a second more to cock that all back, he would have found it as Rigon looks to find Daffy G. But the MP9s, the Tech 9, sorry, they're just too fast. They swarm the bomb site, but Synopsy faster. The way he adjusts is magnificent. Takes a dink for his troubles, and Alex does find a kill in the midst. GXX, though, shuts down the opposition IGL quite swiftly, and that was just cruel. Martinez doesn't stand a chance, gets wall-banged headshot by USP, and Mopos won't be doing much mopping up here. Synopsy holds him as well. Yeah, there's nothing he really can do here. There's no util, no armor, and the Tech 9s are best when they're with a little pace behind them. There's no pace left to this round. The clock is neither an enemy or a friend here.
Yeah, that's unfortunate because Movistar Riders, they partially invested into that one. Obviously, they had all the utility, and BNE just completely disrespected it. Ran through. Juan Flatro, I like the fact that he ran past Synopsy and then just tucked his head down behind the default box. So there's always that extra layer of protection for BNE in case the Tech 9 did overwhelm. There's actually Synopsy to even close out. 3 kills in the round, no bomb plant for Movistar.
Yeah, and that bomb plant denial will be impactful on their economy. They can still afford some guns come the next. But it's the latter stages of this half that I'm beginning to worry about. Bad News Eagles, they're looking pretty spicy at the moment. They've just found themselves double digits ahead of Movi when Movi started this half on 9. Now an Orpon Martinez has been brought out. He's already got more kills in this game than pretty much the entirety of the previous. A very, very quiet second half from on Overpass was definitely one of the reasons that they just couldn't find rounds. They're looking to find a bit of space towards B lane and B here though. Jaguar Molotov'd out. One Flatro forced back from a forward position. But again, a slower pace here from Movistar. And perhaps a change of pace in a rifle round is what they need for success, as Alex, unsuccessful in saving off early damage. That grenade was pretty brutal.
Yeah, really limited utility here for Movistar. And that is at the detriment of not being able to plant the bomb. Ever since the second half started, Movistar Riders have not yet put the bomb down on the bomb site.
Yeah, and again, that's going to become increasingly costly. As Davi G looks to make this one expensive for GXX, the man almost at 2 KD here has had significant impact across this series. Now GXX looks across Davi G, slowly pushing up into middle. Look at his read on the angle. So much awareness for this Orpon, knows that they've left mid open. But they make it look like it was all intended, and in honesty, it probably was. One Flatro spammed through the smoke. Won't quite catch anybody just yet. Instead, it's the flames licking at Movi. And Martinez just goes down to Synopsy. Look at the encapsulation. Synopsy 2K from the backline. It's gorgeous. One Flatro, another. And Mopos again left in a 1v4. Nothing he can do here. But pray they don't find him.
That was a really nice mid-round from Bad News Eagles. You got the adjustment of how do you deal with middle when we haven't taken the control. It's GXX holding, in fact, going and scouting out the red room, making sure that that is under Bad News Eagles' control. Once it is, he swaps with Synopsy. He goes over to the B bomb site. Synopsy takes the control after this kill comes in right here, and he's already in the back lines, ready to deal with Movistar before they can even enter the bomb site.
Yeah, it's just such a huge flank there from Synopsy. As he said, shuts things down before they can even get started. Mopos does at least have a rifle coming into this one, but he's got no money in his back pocket, very little support from his teammates. We've already seen that the Tech-9s are floundering against BNE, and Synopsy looks to ensure that's a reoccurring theme. Cuts down Davi G early doors, and no players on Movi right now are really standing out to me as a hero that could get them a bit of confidence back, allow a resurgence, and also the fact that Mopos isn't close enough to trade out his teammates is a little bit concerning. His positioning is rather wacky, though. He's found his way into the depths of cave, outmaneuvering Juan Flatro. Could even play for Trigger Discipline here, as he's definitely spotted the first man. Henderson obviously spotted. Juan Flatro, though, 90-degree swings in the nick of time, and that is very, very clean.
Laughing it off, I didn't see him. Sorry, my bad. But that's fine. It's secured, immediate trade. Things do not get out of hand and too turbulent for Bad News Eagles. However, things are kind of getting into a bit of a dire straits for Movistar Riders because they are yet to post a round in this second half. And they are being completely outmuscled and outmatched, bullied all the way around the map. Wherever they go, it feels like they're being met with a series of resistances in which they do not have any answers to right now. Maybe this tactical pause can help them out.
Yeah, the Bad News Bouncers have been denying presence from Movistar across the entirety of the map. They've kept mid on lockdown, the sites have been relatively untouched, and even when they do get some semblance of a foothold on the site, their raw fragging prowess and their wild confidence to just push through the offensive utility has gotten them so much. And Synopsy, a huge resurgence on this CT half, didn't have the best stat line coming into it, but his multi-kills have been so hugely impactful. Again, especially that rear flank in middle as Martinez has fallen off again. He's been knocked down early as Rigon catches another and continues this deftly man advantage.
Yeah, Sassol's got 17 kills, but I don't remember the last time they were really impactful into a round for him, which is a little bit upsetting to see.
I don't remember the last time Martinez even got one.
It's been a while. Tries to be a little bit proactive there, but gets caught out by Juan Flatro's forward positioning. Already ahead on the timings there. Walking through a smoke now is Mopos. Synopsy just throws another one in his face. As Scenario just waltzes, in fact, just down the B ramp. Really just lackadaisical approach. No care in the world. This is bad news Eagles' defense. And Movistar Riders cannot really even put a dent in it. It is very, very difficult.
Yeah, it's not Mopos, it is Southsalt. Here's another 1v4, and nothing comes of it. Synopsy, omnipresent in towards mid and B lane, catches another victim. As now the struggle, the strain of this match is starting to show on the faces of this Spanish side. This is a second instance in which they have not put a single round up in the second half after becoming close to or winning out the first.
Things don't get any easier as well. Because if they lose this series, they'll go on to face ENCE. And they'll be fighting for elimination.
Yeah, as much as they did put up a decent performance against ENCE before, they didn't win that one out. And then not looking as strong as Eternal Fire. Mopos not looking strong at all in this one. Immediately shot on through. And by God, it's a massacre. Southsol, a single kill, making a double, but nothing more. As GXX, he's not even had the opportunity to find a frag in a while because his teammates have been mopping them up too quickly. 14 on the board, if I'm not mistaken. And Movistar Riders, well, they're no longer riding this wave. They're no longer, well, really the surprise, unexpected underdogs. They're just, unfortunately, being kicked to the curb.
Yeah, I feel like this is a testament to the CT side of Bad News Eagles rather than the nature and the variations that we've seen from Movistar Riders' T side. Because what we have seen from them is they've tried to adapt on the fly. Oh my goodness me, it's been peppered with nades. But they've gone for these different layers of peaks. They've gone for fighting towards middle. GXX's second volley of utility gets rid of Alex Rigon. And an immediate trade in towards Cave as well. 4 versus 2, it isn't great.
Well, it's just a little bit saddening to watch, if I'm honest, Brandon. I would have loved to have 2 competitive halves. The first half, reasonably competitive.
Yeah, for sure.
Albeit a little bit streaky. But Bad News Eagles, their winning streak is ridiculous. They've not let a single round slip, and Southsol doesn't let Juan Flatro slip by him. But he's still going to have to multi-frag to even make this one competitive, and it's not going to happen. The Orba closes in on him. Southsol again, the only one really performing here. As soon as we called him out, he does at least start fragging, but the rest of the team, it's not a similar story. Martinez, that's his first kill in an umpteenth number of rounds. As Bomb is still on his back, he does have the time on his side. Could rotate over to A if he wanted to, but he's got no information on the remaining 2 CTs. And Rigon and Synopsy, as long as they stick together, should find themselves fairly easily overwhelming this young Orpa.
Yeah, I've been very impressed with Martinez. All tournaments long. Let's see what he can provide. Not a lot. Synopsy just swings him. Bad News Eagles are, well, they've got plenty of promotional points here to continue in the upper bracket where they can face off against Eternal Fire in a 2-0 manner. For Movistar, not only do they need to get their first round of the second half, they need to get a few more in a row. No more mistakes, otherwise they get sent to the lower bracket.
Yeah, and it just seems all so fast. The second half has been a blur because there's been no point of contact for Movistar Riders to refer back to. It's just been a wall of blue, and Daffy G gets his feet tickled by a pool of orange. Down to 39 already. Mopos does at least find the first entry in a very long time for the Movistar roster. Hopefully it's a sign of things to come, but I feel like it's already too little too late. Your predictions today have been pretty on point, Brandon, but Daffy G does at least find an on-point frag with the Khalil to follow up with his teammates' footsteps.
GXX. Now try and hold down A potentially. Scenari putting up resistance on B is only going to funnel them further into GXX. This gunfight quite crucial. Oh, but David G jumps over the AWP bullet. Now creeping his way round in towards Donut. GXX gets deleted by Mopos instead. And Scenario would need a, well, one hell of a clutch, really. An ace required, 1 versus 3. It's not happening.
Yeah, I have a feeling that it's probably not going to go down. He has at least spotted out DaviG on the ult, but the nature of the economy on the CT side is so strong that Scenario is probably going to try for it anyway. He's gotten close on this bomb site before. He's gotten 2 out of 3 required, but with that time ticking away, I don't think he has time for the ace clutch anymore. DaviG does well to ensure there will be a sandwich, a nice crossfire if he tries to push any further. Will instead choose to upgrade to an AK. And does get away comfortably in the nick of time. Sassel and DaviG almost both going down in tandem. Yeah, again, there's not much to smile about here for Mobius. They're smiling about Scenario's attempt on the BNE camp.
Yeah, I mean, it was a pretty good attempt, right? He gets 3 quick kills. It looks like there isn't really too much damage that he takes. But this is so much better from Movistar. This is just them fighting and standing their ground and really trying to move with intent. Double digits are now being acquired, and maybe, now they've got over the hump, they can try and force this one into overtime. It's a very big ask, of course. They need 5 rounds in a row still. GXX going for another different boost. Peeking deep in towards B. You can see all the way down the doorway.
It's very clean. Speaking of clean, one Flatro. He's got the Mr. Muscle out. He's wiped Cave clean of any presence of Movistar. That is just why, Mopos. It's not worked before. It's not going to work again. As the T's slowly edge their way out into middle, but there is no middle ground in this series anymore. We need a firm acceleration from the Spaniards, and it's just not seeming like they have any gas left in the tank.
Oh, look at these nades being dropped on by Synopsy. Been left there deliberately by BNE to try and fight back and assume a little bit of control in towards middle. They're not using it with the manpower, but it is with the utility deep smoking towards Donut as well. That's going to make things complicated.
Yeah, Synopsy's been the util guard at this stage of the round. What was that? 2 nades down middle, a couple of flashes lobbed, the smoke to cut off the Donut presence, and that has at least kept 3 Movistar Riders players at bay. They've got Salso coming in through a main, but GXX has got his crosshairs trained comfortably on this aggression. He's got support from Rigon. Rigon finds the first, Salso removed, and it's looking like this could well be it for Moby. By goodness, look at them, frag in tandem. Martinez last alive in a 1 versus 5. We've not seen the same caliber of youngster today as we did at the end of last night. This is not a spirit-beating roster. This is a roster that's lacking spirit, and with that, was that a timer?
Yeah.
They just ran out of time to finish the round.
Yes, indeed. But for Bad News Eagles, it is a dominant best of 3. I really like the fact that we've seen a lot of different variations from them just in that series alone. Mental Fortitude to come back. Movistar Riders, it was a competitive first half on Ancient, but at the end of the day, the CT side was just too well rehearsed and just too intrusive for them to do anything with it.
No, but a huge shout out to Bad News Eagles, as they look like the most well-rounded I've seen them in a while. They had good defense, they had good offense. The T and CT sides balanced themselves out across both maps. There was no whitewash half in favor of Moby at all because of just how structured they look. And again, we talk about how Devilwalk's been providing structure and how Bad News Eagles have occasionally struggled to close out these games. But that final third that he mentioned in the pre-game was clinical. It was so clean. And Movistar, they just got so heavily overwhelmed. It was, again, sad to watch.
Yeah, it's a really good showing, and it's a further example of why Ancient is Bad News Eagles' best map. The fact that they gave themselves a lot of opportunity from that first half. It was such a commanding lead to kick things off, and then from there, Movistar, it was a good comeback, but they just couldn't quite finish it off in the, well, second half indeed. Bad News Eagles, well, I want to know what Parla and Freddie have got to think about that one. And do you know what? I'll see them in just a sec.
Yes, you certainly will. Thank you, B-Dog and Sneaky. BNE looking fantastic across that series. They move ahead in the competition. Movistar Riders down but not out. They are still alive, but they are now in the lower bracket. Gentlemen, initial reactions to Ancient. Yeah, Bad News Eagles. they came off of Overpass and just continued the momentum.
Yeah, I think this is a really impressive showing from Bad News Eagles, I can't lie. You had Devil Walk saying, like, oh, they won the veto. Did they? They had a really impressive showing on Overpass. And Ancient, I think the scorelines in both these maps, I don't think really depict how one-sided they may have been. Movistar had some success filtered here and there, but I genuinely was watching Ancient being like, okay, it looks close on the scoreline, but genuinely, BNE, always.
Yeah.
What was it like to cast that Ancient? Were you surprised that Movistar didn't really have the tools to deal with what BNE were throwing at them?
I just, for me, what's difficult about it is you know what you're going to expect out of a Bad News Eagles CT side. You know that the control's always going to be in towards middle. You know that they're going to try and prioritize fight for cave and lane, as often as we're seeing here in these highlights that are going to roll on through. But for me, you know that that's going to always be the case. So rather than fighting it aggressively in the start of the round, which didn't quite work out as Movistar experienced, why don't you just go for a retake? Why don't you sit back? They were doing that on Overpass on the T side. They were letting Bad News Eagles make the mistakes, overextend. Here on Ancient, it felt like a completely different story. It's like they weren't ready at all.
Just a single T round for the Movistar Riders. Grimmy Rana, what should they have done differently on that T side?
I think a big part of it is if you see in both those games, they really struggled on that second half. And I think that is BNE, as soon as they start gaining momentum, they're very impressive at lifting each other up. And honestly, I was thinking this, I would hate to be on the other side of them. They were screaming every single round they win. When Scenery, when Scenery won that pistol round, he was screaming. Imagine how hard that is to play against. And I think BNE, for Movistar, I don't know if there's a huge amount they could have done because they just get outclassed. BNE are looking really strong right now. And I think I do actually put them as the favourites potentially to be winning this whole tournament.
Oh, that's a big one there. Brandon, what do you think? Could BNE have just secured favourite status out of our final four teams?
They're looking the most solid right now, and they're looking like they're added a lot of structure up upon the firepower that's got them to the position that they're in already. So for me, it's kind of a safe pick. I also think Eternal Fire are looking really good right now. I don't really want to sit here and say there's a winner. But I think that there's an interesting comparison that could be drawn between those two teams.
Yeah, funnily enough, I mean, we're going to close out our day with Eternal Fire versus Bad News Eagles, so that should be a crazy matchup. I think it's fair to say the two strongest teams right now.
Yeah, two very similar. You were talking about how you can look at a lot of comparisons, and they're both looking a little bit more refined as well.
Yeah, they've both built into the tournament.
Yeah, notoriously as teams throughout the ages have been very wild, very crazy, but I think they've developed and kept that old craziness per se, but they've definitely made it a lot stronger. And BNE, a team that's struggled sometimes outside of the majors, a win like this heading into Paris that's not too long away is a really important factor for them. And one Flattery you see right there, he's got really well into this tournament, kind of similar to what we might have seen to Xantares, had slower starts but have really picked up the pace. And GXX, my god, is that man confident. Was it the first gun round right at the AWP, Brandon?
Yeah, for sure. And I feel like that's a very important point you just brought up. Look at the scoreboard. Look at how consistent GXX has been over the entire series compared to Martinez. Martinez looked good on Overpass, but Ancient, it was a completely different story. And we framed them into the head-to-head for that reason. The more consistent AWP is going to come out on top in the series, and, well, GXX really had a great one.
Up next, we are going to take a look at our 1xBet player of the match. We'll bring that up shortly. Little drum roll. And it is Juan Flatro. Player of the match, he was top of the table. A huge 1.42 rating and a very solid 96.9 ADR. And I don't want to take away from him, but you can see his stats up on screen. But I just want to continue on from what you were mentioning, Brandon. So GXX was second highest performer for Bad News Eagles. And if we look at who was his rival on the server, the AWP for Movistar, Martinez was the bottom performer across the series.
Yeah, really disappointing because he's actually been impressing me, I'd say, this tournament, especially against Spirit. Against ENCE, he was really disappointing. He was at the bottom of the scoreboard again with a 0.64. That's the rating I'll keep on bringing up. And he seemed between ENCE and now, he's definitely upgraded himself, but he wasn't in any way, shape or form impactful at all across this whole series. And it was someone like Sassol who was trying his goddamn best to get them over the line. But there's only so much you can do when your AWPer is at the bottom of the scoreboard time and time again.
Gentlemen, enough from us for now. Let's head down onto the floor with verasity, who is standing by with Rigon from the Bad News Eagles.
Thank you so much for that, Parla. Congratulations are in order for yourself and your team. Rigon, my first question for you is, I know I was chit-chatting with Devil Walk a little bit earlier. How was it that you guys ultimately led to doing the prep to face off against Movistar?
To be honest, we didn't do that much prep. KJ, of course, our analyst did, like always, a good job. Devil Walk watched the prep, of course. He told us some stuff, but we didn't really specify anything from them, and we went just to the server and won 2-0.
So you guys are actually going to end up facing off against Movistar Riders again in 10 days' time for the ESL Challenger League. Are there any sort of key takeaways you can take away from the series that you've just played against them?
We will rewatch the demo for sure. We will watch some things, but it's different online and LAN, so we will see. It's like we don't have anything yet.
And I know Devil Walk said earlier on that he felt like you guys had kind of lost the veto. Did it really matter for you guys in terms of, whether or not you ended up playing on that Mirage that you have better stats on, or over on that Overpass?
You lost the veto? Who said this?
Take it up with Devil Walk. Devil Walk, you didn't hear it from me, okay? And also, so for the side of Eternal Fire, they had a little bit of something to say themselves. They said that they wanted to face off against you guys so that they could finally get their revenge. Are you confident that you can put a stop to that revenge that they're looking for?
I'm not gonna jinx anything, but they're welcome like always, and the better team will win.
The better team will win. Back over to you, Parla.
Guys, the Devil Walk veto conspiracy deepens. Yes. So, very valid question from Veracity about Devil Walk saying that they'd lost the veto, which he mentioned in the pre-match interview. And Rigon was like, who said this? So, I don't know now if that was a genuine response from him or there's some mind games going on. This is the Devil Walk veto conspiracy.
Has he just stirred the pot
DVT
there?
at the CCT.
The CC. Oh, okay.
See, they've got a little rhyme.
A little bit of rhyme. I actually was thinking a little bit of rhymes. You gave us some rap names. The Notorious B-Dog. The Notorious B-Dog can work. I thought that was the best I could do, to be honest, and I just wanted to throw that in there.
Best?
Well, yeah, I really struggled. I was trying very hard, but I feel like Devil Walk definitely threw in some little bit conspiracy that maybe gave Movistar a little bit of overconfidence.
So I think people do publicly know, but just behind the scenes, Jonathan Devil, he likes a joke, he likes a troll. So I don't know, maybe we'll get more info on that as we speak to. I presume we'll speak to him again at some point.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, any other thoughts on this series that you'd like to share?
I think it's just really interesting that Eternal Fire, and especially Xantara, seemingly never is able to step up against BNE. And in so many iterations over the past few months, when it's been online, LAN, in different tournaments, whatnot, BNE have always come out on top. And it's actually alarming how consistent they are against Eternal Fire. So I think for Eternal Fire, they must have so much pent-up anger against the Kosovar, just being like, can we please win a game against them?
Yeah, potentially. Like, it's a nice rivalry, and I think it's really good because they're both in kind of similar stages in terms 100%. Of the fact that Eternal Fire have now got all their roles figured out, and then they can now look to build upon their structure. And you've got Bad News Eagles who have added a coach in specifically to help out with theirs, and they're adding layers onto their original format. So it's cool that we've got a rivalry between two really closely kind of teams on the similar level.
Yeah.
Freddie and Brendan, thank you so much for your thoughts, as always. Everybody, our first two best of threes of the day are out of the way, but we've got two more to go. And so I'm being told right now that at 5 p.m. CET, that's when our next will take place, ENCE versus Movistar Riders. And we'll be live on the desk about 10 minutes before then. Thank you for joining us, and we'll see you shortly.
I have a very complicated job, but I love simple things so much. One move. One push. One touch. One love. One click. One XBet.
Trying to get the skin of your dream for a long time but can't get it in any way? On our website you have a unique opportunity to get your favorite knife. Users on our site can hand out skins themselves, and participants need to fulfill some simple conditions. For example, watch a video or buy a case on our website. After that, you automatically become a member of the distribution. Go to the user giveaways tab and do what you like. Hellcase.
And let's introduce our second guest, Regali, formerly of Game Agents or Fnatic Rising, now playing in Copenhagen Flames, absolutely tearing up the scene right now. They've been playing super well, they've won some of our tournaments.
Hello everybody watching this.
You guys are playing an obscene amount of games.
Trained a lot, we practiced a lot.
Were you a bit worried after you joined? And
He was one of the main reasons I really wanted to join Copenhagen Flames. Right now I became strong with Rifle as well.
The thing is, it sounds like you're continuing to expand your game.
We are playing way better in officials.
How do you find time to practice? You guys have obviously been placing super highly in these events consistently now.